and was only suitable for people aged 18 or over, will almost certainly have an adult theme, and might well contain sex or violence, which are quite graphic. It may also contain explicit language, including sexual swear words. Thanks for listening.
But here's what his revelation comes to him. He's kind of got all this stuff like touching, wiping, lowering of the animals.
Not wiping, whipping.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, torture.
Also not touching.
I am dyslexic. I hope I'm not having like a stroke.
Do it live! Fuck it! Do it live!
And an atheist almost always become supporters of eugenics and abortion.
A swine is hungry for nuts. Jesus hates them too.
Satan is real.
Being a Satanist is an open declaration of revolt against counterproductive received wisdom and mindless rogue tradition.
Decapitate her head off!
We're done. You're done.
Obama!
Welcome to the Godless Rebelution. This is an episode of the Godless Interruption for the Republican Republican primary debates.
It's a clown car debate.
Yeah, it totally is. Well, this first one's not. It's unless it was like a micro car.
But still, there's way too many GOP candidates.
I believe there are only going to be 4 participants.
For this one, yeah.
In the kids' table debate. We're very excited and happy to have with us this evening Mr. Forrest Shaw from
Hi, Forrest!
From the Left Show.
That's fantastic. Bravo. Yeah.
I've been waiting all day for that.
And
how's it going?
Good.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming out, man. I'm really excited to have you here. We've also got Mr. Xopher Reed.
Hey, everybody.
From Utah Outcasts. You should check out both of these shows. They're both very entertaining.
The Left Show and Utah Outcasts.
Yes.
This is I think your third appearance? Fourth,
I think.
Fourth, I think. Yeah.
I did 2 in a row, and then I did one random one in the middle, and so this is number 4.
Yeah. Are you going to be here with us next week?
I plan on it.
Yay!
Nice.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
I got lots of sick leave at work. They can go fuck themselves.
Well, there you go.
Not sure what's wrong, boss. I just can't see you coming into work today. I think you got an eye problem.
Man, I'm so glad to be here doing this because otherwise I'd be listening to this live at my job without great commentary, except for people like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Screw them immigrants. They're coming over here. Take our jabs.
Take a jab. We need to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
All right, everybody, back to the man pile.
Fuck.
And this will be episode number 68 for the Godless Rebelution.
68 shows in, huh?
Yes, sir. On Wednesday, September 16th. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Shall we get to the debates?
Yeah, let's do it.
Looks like we got to fast forward here a little bit because
take advantage of this conversation.
Wolf Blitzer is saying
who
things
exactly is in the first one? There's only like 4 or 5 of them,
I know
right?
Jindal's in it.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of. There's 4, and it's Bobby Jindal.
Here we
Because
go.
they bumped up Fiorino.
Jindal,
Lindsey Graham.
Oh, Graham, of course.
Santorum
and Pataki.
Anderson.
Santorum.
Santorum,
How
really?
could I forget Santorum? I fucking hate that guy more than anybody.
And he was leading last year, or last time.
I don't know.
around, you know?
I really fucking hate Ted Cruz, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
But I really hate Sant. I don't know who I hate more. I don't know.
I think I hate. I was going to say Ted Cruz more, but I don't know. Santorum's a giant ass.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Santorum,
I think it's hard to. Right.
I think
Finally,
I dislike.
Oh, there's Trumper.
of that vehicle.
He's
gonna
the
walk
funnest
inside
one to
just in
watch.
time for the start
He's just
of
such
this
an
debate.
asshole.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
He's such a smug, condescending, fucking conceited.
Yeah.
And sadly, that's why America loves him.
I know.
He's
And the
everything I am.
Yeah, right.
Other normal
I saw a thing on
presidential
the
candidates,
Facebook
Republican
that said he
presidential
was-
candidates or Democratic
Yeah, everything he
presidential
says is on a
candidates
4th grade
do.
level.
He's walking in
Yeah.
right
Wow,
now.
really?
Watch what's going
4th
on.
grade
In
level?
the meantime, Edison,
bet.
you and I will
That's
be back
incredible.
after this first debate will be here throughout the night. Our special coverage begins.
I would tear down the Abraham
right
Lincoln
now.
bedroom. It's the first thing I would do as president. Put gold-plated ceiling fans.
It's debate night
the
for the
Trump bedroom.
Republicans. The candidates are here. The pressure is on.
He's the fucking
And the
worst.
stakes are higher than
There's
ever.
only 4 of them.
Oh, so that was the Air Force One that Reagan wrote on.
Did they really have to put that in the fucking library? I mean,
Yeah, well, they did it just for this event. Look at that thing.
We can fast forward through that. Oh, there's a statue of the man.
the Gipper!
And then we got Donald Trump saying some things in junk.
I'm glad I
There
was
you
real
go.
little when Reagan was in office.
They're doing a preview of all of the things and talking about the peoples. Now let's bring our people out on stage.
This evening we will hear from the top 11 contenders. The other 4 candidates are taking part in the first round, and they are ready.
In the kids'
Join us
debate.
now. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina.
All right, Lindsey Graham.
The distinguished gentleman.
War. Yeehaw.
Louisiana Governor
What was that little
Jindal.
I don't know.
And
I'm white.
Yeah,
I'm white Jindal, right? Man.
The former U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania, Rick Santorum.
Yeah.
Christy, Jesus is with me and in my heart.
So frothy.
And former New York Governor George Pataki.
Who's that guy again?
Exactly.
That's what everybody else is talking.
Hey, listen. 9/11 happened on my
Ladies and
watch, so
gentlemen, please
wait.
welcome
What?
Republican candidates
You should stop
for
saying
president
that, George.
of the United States.
Look, they've got him
Look,
lined in
Jindal's
order
the
of
only.
height.
He's the only one that has his buttons undone on his coat.
And
He's
now,
ready
if
for a
you will,
fight.
Please rise for our
He's
national
ready to go,
anthem
yeah.
They look
performed
like the
by
reverse
actress and
order
singer
of like a telephone
Natalie
of a mobile phone signal.
There you go.
Good signal.
Hoo boy!
Rader joining me in the questioning, Salem Radio Network talk show host Hugh Hewitt. He worked in the Reagan administration for 6 years.
this will be
And
interesting.
CNN's chief political correspondent, Dana Bash.
I am not a fan of Hugh Hewitt.
No, nor am I.
Yeah.
I will follow up and guide the discussion. Candidates, I'll try to make
got
sure
super
each of you
radio
gets your
voice.
fair share of questions. You'll have 1 minute to answer
That's kinda like
questions
Jeff,
and 30
just has an
seconds
immediate radio
for follow-ups
voice.
and rebuttals.
Right.
I'll give you time to respond if you have been singled out
Yeah.
for criticism. We have timing lights that are visible to the candidates. Those lights will warn them when their time is up. Our goal tonight is to have a true debate, candidates actually addressing each other in areas where they disagree, where they differ on policy, on politics, and on leadership. Now that everyone is in place,
So at
it's
least
time
half
for
of
the
the candidates
to
at the
introduce
podium right
themselves
now
to our audience. Please
were
keep it brief.
definitely
Governor
told
Pataki,
by God to
you're
run,
first.
right?
Yes.
Thank
Oh,
you,
at
Chief.
least.
Including
Hi,
Rick
I'm
Perry,
George
who's
Pataki.
out.
And I am honored to be here this afternoon with all of you at the Reagan Library.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I
What the
think
fuck is wrong with
of
his
Ronald
mouth?
Reagan?
Stroke.
Oh.
He's having a stroke
Smile
right
that
now.
Good for
reflected his
you.
optimism and his unending belief and faith in America
Yeah, good.
and in Americans. And it was that belief in America that led to a great
Is he putting
presidency.
on a bit of a southern
A
accent to
presidency
appeal to
that
Republican
led to
voters?
decades of
Because he's from New York.
Yeah.
security and prosperity for America.
America.
He is,
America,
dude.
America,
It sounds like he's
America.
trying to be
We
folksy.
need in
is.
Washington today.
I don't know if any of you guys watched
And
The
that's why
Strain,
I'm running
but he's got like
for
that
president
neck
of the
slit
United
thing, like he's about to
States.
spit out that long.
Oh,
I do,
yeah, wow.
I do watch that.
I'm Rick Santorum.
Frothy
No.
mixture.
You may know me because I led the fight to end.
Because Dan Savage made a whole new definition for my name.
because I led
Google.
the fight to end welfare as we know it, put people back to work,
Yeah,
reduce
yeah.
poverty, and
How?
reduce the federal budget.
How?
Some of you may know me because I successfully put sanctions on the Iranian nuclear program in Congress over opposition of both parties initially. But hopefully most of you know me most
they have a crooked
because
tie.
I'm the proud father of 7 children.
Oh, fucking
With
Jesus.
particularly
Catholic,
a special
of course.
little disabled girl who is the
No, I know him best from Google
core of my heart.
results for looking for like
Married to
frothy
a
mixtures
wonderful
of
woman
things.
named
Right.
Jane for 25 years who is the love of my life.
Thanks, Dan Savage.
It's all frothy. all frothy.
Hi, I'm Bobby Jindal. Now look, I don't have a famous last name. My daddy didn't run for president. I don't
That's
have
a
a
bad
reality
start.
TV show. I'll tell you what I
Oh.
do have. I've got the backbone, I've got the bandwidth, I've got the experience.
But he's like
to
punching at
get
the
us through
wind. He's
these
not
tough
even there.
times, to make sure that we don't turn the American dream into the European nightmare. Thank you for
Oh,
having
that
me
was
today.
his tagline last time, yeah. The European nightmare where everybody who's doing the very best in the world lives.
Right.
You know, great education, universal health care.
Things are better there, typically, right?
Happiness quotient is through the roof.
I'm Lindsey Graham from
People are
South
getting laid all over the place.
Mandatory amounts of vacation and sick leave for everybody.
World to me. I'm the
Yeah,
only
like, I wouldn't say no to moving to Italy, right?
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan
Right?
was our
Yeah.
president.
Why would you?
I'd
Right.
take Sweden even.
Yeah, I would take Sweden.
All right,
life.
let's go.
Even though you
Just
got
wherever
6 months of
I'm running
winter.
for president
It's still better.
to
Right.
destroy radical Islam.
That's why he wants to run for president, is to destroy radical Islam?
Yeah, because he wants war.
And in that quest, I have an uncompromising
Well, I think we need our first gay president, though. Come on.
War. Just like President Reagan had an uncompromising determination.
Not this guy.
To destroy the evil empire.
War.
The
Penis.
Cold War.
Yeah.
Above all
Look at
others,
that hair, though.
on both sides of the aisle,
fucking sharp.
I am most qualified to be commander-in-chief
He
on
does
day
have
one.
good hair.
He's got no
33
neck,
years in
though.
the Air
Like, no
Force,
chin.
No chin.
35
He's
trips
got
to
the
Iraq
George
and
Lucas thing going
Afghanistan.
on.
I understand this war.
Needs to wear turtlenecks.
I have a plan to win it, and I intend to win it.
He's kind of turtley.
Oh, he's
Not Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, not as bad as McConnell.
but
He's turtley.
Thank you, candidates. We're going to talk a lot about policy and your proposals this evening. But first, Governor Jindal, I want to start with you. You have said that the front runner, Donald Trump, is a, quote, unstable, narcissistic egomaniac. Now, we are in the house of Reagan, who made famous the so-called 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of thy fellow Republican. What drove you to violate that unofficial commandment?
Well, Jake, I'm in compliance with the 11th commandment, and I would say,
oh, shit.
Because let's stop treating Donald Trump like a Republican. If he were really a conservative and 30 points ahead, I would endorse him. He's not a conservative. He is not a liberal. He's not a Democrat. He's not a Republican.
He's not a Republican.
He's not an independent.
That's his answer.
He believes in Donald.
All right, Bobby.
No
Drew Scotsman.
The idea of America is slipping away. $18 trillion of debt. Planned Parenthood selling baby parts across our country.
Motherfucker.
The government's creating a new entitlement program.
That's not what's happening.
Of course that's not
Why
what's
did they
happening.
keep...
Lie.
It's just lie.
It's fear-mongering. God, I should have read that.
War on
It works.
trans fats and a truce with Iran. Think about that. He's more worried about Twinkies than he is about the Ayatollahs having a nuclear weapon. That is what is happening. The idea
If they
of
get
America
them,
is
so
slipping
fucking
away.
what? Everybody
We
else
must
around
not
them
let that
has them.
happen on our watch. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rescue the idea of America, the choice for conservatives. Do we depend on proven conservative principles like Ronald Reagan did? Or do we turn this over to a narcissist who only believes in himself?
Thank you, Governor.
Wow.
He just totally fucking cut him off.
Stop. Do you think Governor Jindal is wrong for attacking your party's frontrunner?
I think personal attacks just please one person, Hillary Clinton. And all we do is
What about
go after
Bernie?
each other and
Fuck
and
you.
we've seen a bunch,
Right.
It pleases me when they attack each other.
My hands are in my pants right
I would go
now.
after and make personal attacks.
Oh
on
yeah,
people. There
it's a
are
lot
plenty
more
of
fun when
policy
they attack each
differences
other. For sure.
between the candidates up here and the candidates.
To watch him
later.
attack everybody but
Donald
himself.
Trump has every right to run for
Right?
president. As a
Jindal's looking at
Republican
Santorum like,
as
I'm gonna
anybody
fucking
else
knife
in
you after
audience.
this.
And he may have positions that I disagree with, but he has the right to do that, and the people should be given the benefit of the doubt to be able to see through those things. I don't think it helps when Republicans attack Republicans personally. I'll say some things tonight which will be very big differences. The issue of immigration is one that there are huge differences in this field.
So it's funny that by saying you know it's wrong to attack Republicans, he's basically attacking other Republicans
Oh, yeah.
who are doing that, right?
Oh yeah, that's just what I told you he would do.
Yeah, it's a backhanded attack.
Of course.
Sneak attack, just like a Santorum.
I love how they're saying, you know, everybody has different opinions and all this
Now we have
stuff,
to look
except we're all
after the
saying the
American
same
worker.
fucking thing.
The focus of this debate should be on how we're going to win this election and help improve the quality of life for American workers. And we aren't doing that
And the rich.
when we're out there picking at each other and calling each other names. The name we should be calling out is, what are we going to do for average Americans who are losing ground in America today? And that should be our focus.
That's not a name.
Governor
That's not a
Jindal, do
name
you
at
want to
all.
respond to that?
Absolutely. Look,
Unless it's
the reality
translated
is
German.
Hillary Clinton is gift wrapping this election to us. They are running their weakest candidate. They've got a socialist that is gaining on Hillary Clinton. Folks, you can't make that up. A socialist is doing well in the Democratic primary. The best way for us to give this election back
Yeah, because
would be
that's
to
what we
nominate
want.
a Donald Trump.
We want a guy that's going to prosecute Wall Street.
Or if God
We
forbid,
want a guy that's
do.
going to raise
Out there,
taxes
no
on people
idea
that can
what he
afford
would
it.
do.
Yeah, we sure
You can't
do.
just attack him on policy. He doesn't care about policy. It's not enough to say he was for socialized medicine or higher
Thank you,
taxes.
Governor.
He's not serious.
Oh my God!
He just
Again.
keeps fucking cutting
Senator
him off.
Santorum, just to assure you, we will get to those issues, but just a couple more on this general subject. Senator Graham, you've called Donald Trump a, quote, wrecking ball for the Republican Party. Voters in your home state of South Carolina in a recent poll prefer Donald Trump 30% to your 4%. How do you explain why so many of your constituents
Smoked
would
a dude
rather
before he
have
got
Donald
it.
Trump as the Republican nominee than you?
Well, all I can say, if you looked at polling in 2012 and 2008 at this level, we'd have this stage, you'd have President Perry and President Giuliani. We've got a long way to go. And here's what I'm going to try to do tonight, convince you that I'm best qualified to be Commander-in-Chief for the 1% who are doing the fighting for the rest of us.
Hey, that's all. He's so fucking hawkish. That's his whole platform is war.
There he is.
It's not that he wants to be president. He wants to be Commander-in-Chief.
Yeah, he wants war.
I want to control our military forces.
We're going to send more ground
just wants to bomb people.
I want to control our military forces.
You got to pause it.
I want to.
You got to pause it.
Against sound military advice.
Oh, did I totally miss him saying some
He just
bad
went
shit
right
things?
over ground troops and boots on the ground and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
He went right to it.
Wow.
And here's what I'm going to try to do tonight, convince you that I'm best qualified to be Commander-in-Chief for the 1% who are doing the fighting for the rest of us. And we're going to have a serious discussion tonight. All of us are going to say we want to destroy ISIL. But here's what I'm going to tell you. What we're doing is not working. I have a plan to do it. If I'm President of the United States, we're going to send more ground forces into Iraq because we have to. President Obama made a huge mistake by moving too soon against sound military advice. To every candidate tonight, are you willing to commit before the American people that you will destroy ISIL and you understand we need a ground force to do it? Are you willing, Jake? Please ask everybody the following question.
You can't
Would you go from
destroy an idea.
3,500 to 10,000 American boots on the ground in Iraq to destroy ISIL? Because if you don't, we're going to lose. Are you willing to send American combat forces into Syria as part of a regional army? Because if you don't, we'll never destroy ISIL in Syria. If you're not ready to do these things, you're not ready to be Commander-in-Chief.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Graham.
Just real heavy. Real heavy.
We're going to bring in Hugh Hewitt now, who has a question for Governor Pataki.
He's into it, man.
Thank you, Jake. Governor, you signed the pledge to support the Republican nominee, and you promptly broke it. By doing so, by tweeting out that you would not support Donald Trump. Have you released Donald Trump to be a free agent again, or anyone else in the field?
No, Hugh, not at all. I have not broken the pledge because Donald Trump is not going to be the Republican nominee. Period. Flat out, I guarantee you that. I will vote for the Republican.
That's going to kill your...
on Twitter that you would not support Donald Trump. If he's the nominee, will you support him?
He's not going to be the nominee, Hugh. And let me
You're not answering the fucking question, dude.
Not only that, but he's killing his own campaign.
An important election with an enormous number of challenges facing the American people.
Let's see, 30 points on everybody right now.
About Donald Trump.
Except Carson.
Would you really vote for Hillary Clinton
I would not vote for
over
Hillary
Donald
Clinton.
Trump if he's the nominee?
No, I will vote for the Republican nominee. But let me say this flat out. Donald Trump is unfit to be president of the United States or the Republican Party's nominee.
And you just committed political suicide.
In Atlantic City. He says he's going to make America great again. He invested 4 casinos in Atlantic City, and he said, essentially, I'm going to make Atlantic City great again. Every one of those casinos went bankrupt. Over 5,000 Americans lost their job. And you know people who, in this
I love how he's right.
Oh, yeah, he's totally right.
Isn't that great?
He's totally right.
Oh, yeah. Anything,
yeah, but he's comparing Jersey to America.
Jobs for America for Atlantic City, and that is not someone we will nominate.
Thank you, Governor.
He said all the right things,
Senator Graham,
but just a little bit too early. A little bit too soon in the race.
One of the reasons why
I don't think he's.
You got to let the poll numbers on Donald start to drop, and then you lay that bomb down.
Is because they are.
I think he's going to be pretty strong until right about the end.
There are 2 things that they have in common.
Could be.
They've never been elected to office before,
or 4,
and they're doing better than all of you in the polls.
And then people,
the 4 of you have a combined 7 decades in elected office. Senator Graham, in this election season, do Republican voters see your service in government as a liability and not an asset?
Well, what I hope Republican voters, Libertarian, vegetarians, Democrats, you name it, will look for somebody to lead us in a new direction.
Is there a vegetarian party?
Domestically, but particularly on the foreign policy front.
There ought to be.
President Obama is making.
Who's the guy that wears the rubber boot on his head and has the
what I'm
the
trying
crazy
to tell
beard,
you here
like
tonight, that Syria is hell on earth.
Lord Sewage or something like that?
It's not going to get fixed by insulting each other.
Maybe I'm thinking of British politics.
I've been there 35 times to Iraq and Afghanistan. I am ready to be Commander-in-Chief on day 1.
It's always Commander-in-Chief. Give me the military. Give me the military. I want to fucking kill people.
Afghanistan. I am
so 16.
ready to get on with winning a war that we can't afford to lose. I hope you believe that experience matters.
I hope you believe
it's an all-volunteer
we got to go to
force,
war,
folks. When you vote for commander-in-chief, they are stuck with your choice. We've had one novice being commander-in-chief. Let's
Bush?
don't replace one novice with another. And if I thought I could win this war without more American ground forces in Iraq and Syria, I would tell you, but we can't.
Thank you,
if
Senator.
we don't get on with this, they are coming here.
Thank you, Senator.
No, they're
Let's turn to the topic of immigration.
They're coming here.
I want to bring in my colleague, Dana Bash.
Like
Senator Santorum,
the most
Governor
armed
Jindal
society
has supported a
the world has
pathway to
ever known,
citizenship.
right?
Well, and
Crazed and xenophobic
Seriously.
as well.
and I mean, we laid the groundwork for ISIS to be who they are now.
McCain wanted
In
to
a lot
fucking
of
give them
ways.
weapons, man.
Yeah.
We have pictures of it.
You're right. I mean,
The border is secure.
that was.
Why
I
do
think
you
that was
disagree with
pre-ISIS. Like there was probably
Well, in fact,
a
just
time
about
when maybe we
everybody
could
in
have given
this
them
field
weapons, but
supports some pathway
still don't
to
know what would
citizenship.
happen.
They're
It's
just a
never
few.
worked out in
Governor
the past
Jindal,
for
Senator
us.
Cruz,
No.
Rubio,
Arming
That's
anybody.
the thing
Bush,
that really.
a lot of others, Senator Graham.
Arming any of them eventually comes
all
back to bite us on the
support
ass.
some sort of
Yeah, I think there was a
amnesty,
time we probably
at some
could
point in time or another. And
bomb
this
the
is really the
Syrian
interesting
army.
thing about this whole debate. This debate should not be about what we're going to do
I mean, we're
with
talking
someone
about
who's
like
here
100
illegally.
million people dead.
This debate should
by
be
the
about
Syrian army
what every
alone.
other debate on every other
You
policy
know,
issue is
like,
in America. What's in the best interest of
100 million
hardworking
people.
Americans?
That's a lot of people.
What's in the best interest of our country? We've had a focus.
A whole lot of people.
Because
Oh,
the
yeah.
other side has set up for us, here is who we have to be concerned about on the issue of immigration. And someone who's here illegally and their family, and what are we going to do about them? A great leader will say that the objective of every law in America is to do what's in the best interest of America. And what's in the best interest of America right now is to look at wages, look at employment among wage earners. 70 to 90% of people who've come into this country, 35 million over the last 20 years, are wage earners that are holding wages down, taking jobs away from America.
Nobody wants to do
I want
those
to get
jobs.
the governor to
Yeah,
respond
Dan,
to that.
I want to make very clear that everybody
The
understands my
illegal
position
immigrant
is we need to
jobs.
secure
Right.
the border here.
Nobody
Yeah,
wants
people-
to pick fucking watermelons.
Nobody wants
yeah,
to take those
no.
jobs. Was it?
But a lot of that's even legal, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember which state it was. You could probably bump Forrest's mic up a little bit. Sounds a little soft. But a lot of the what state was it where they passed the really, really harsh immigration stuff and like all the immigrants just basically packed up and moved overnight?
Oh, Arizona. Or New Mexico, one of the two. 'Cause I remember there was a mass migration of everybody leaving. I think it was Arizona, I believe.
Yeah.
Sounds like Arizona policy.
Because Arizona's fucking crazy right.
Well, they
really right.
But then they couldn't get anybody to backfill all of these fucking farm jobs and shit jobs that all of the immigrants had been doing all this time. They tried hiring American workers, and all of the farmers were like, "These people are shit. I can't get them to work. They won't show up. They show up late. They leave early. When they're here, they don't fucking work."
I'll tell you what, man. Just a few years ago, I had a job delivering furniture around the valley, and I worked with only Mexicans.
Right.
And it took me like 2 months to earn their trust.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they saw a white guy coming in, and they're like, oh, fuck, okay.
Right.
Great. Here's another guy that's going to be entitled and not going to think this job is worth, you know, whatever he is and all this shit. And I had to prove that I had Mexican muscle and go out there and do the job and be on time and fucking work my ass off and do the right things, you know, and that's exactly what I saw happening too. Eventually you get another white guy that applies for the job and maybe he gets hired. And seriously, 2 days in, I'm worth more than this. I don't get paid for that. Yeah, and they're out of there. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what's happening. I mean,
well, and he complains about the migrant workers keeping wages down when none of the Republicans want to increase the minimum wage at all.
Right. Yes.
No, they don't.
I mean,
they
they've
don't
got
have any solutions to that at all.
They have no place talking about.
Yeah, like what the fuck is he even talking
They're
about?
wrong about everything.
They're keeping wages low that I wouldn't increase anyway. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it's the exact same argument that they try to make when they're like, well, no, you absolutely can't have an abortion. You have to have that baby. Okay, then when I have that baby, are you going to help me support? No, we're not going to give you any social support.
Well, of
you
course.
just have to have it.
Yeah. Right.
We're going to take all that social support away. No welfare, no Planned Parenthood, no medical, nothing. You just have to have it. Yeah. It's the same fucking thing. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing.
He also brought up talking about how
is this even a party still? How is this still a party?
Come on, dude. They're making themselves more irrelevant each and every
but you know
so
what?
horrible.
Fucking, it's voter apathy.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
Vote. Everybody vote.
Yeah, if more people were a part of the political process, somebody on Facebook today had posted a question out to the Atheists of Utah group, and they said, who's going to be watching the debates tonight? I can't tell you how many people were like, no, I'd rather fucking, I don't know.
Doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah. I'd rather go chop my nuts off, or, it doesn't matter.
I like watching the debates.
I fucking love watching this stuff, man.
It's fun.
Voting takes all of 20 minutes.
Yeah, well,
of your 4 years or every 2 years or
and how many people in other people in other countries that don't have the right to vote wish that they had just this one right that Americans take for granted.
Absolutely.
People that live under Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
How about them? They want to vote.
Look what happened in Afghanistan after we uprooted everything there.
Yeah.
People were fighting and, going against people that were saying, we will fucking kill you if you show up to vote.
Yeah.
And
they were doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Right.
Showing up because they want to participate.
I think some of that happened in Egypt too.
Yeah, there's just way too much apathy here. I mean, we have
what happened in America, like
the women's suffrage movement, shit.
right.
And yet you still have a majority of people that just don't want to get out there and vote.
It's crazy.
Another interesting thing he brought up, he was talking about how our job is to pass laws that make America better. I wonder what their stance on gay marriage is right now.
Right, right.
Yeah, we want to pass laws that strip rights away from people.
Yeah, that's exactly that. They're the party of anti.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, what to teach in the classroom, what is called a religion and what gets to not be called a religion.
Yeah, all that stuff.
So it makes me
don't need a comprehensive claim. Don't need a 1,000-page bill like the Gang of Eight. We don't need amnesty. Everybody in D.C. talks about it. We need to get it done. As president, I'll get it done in 6 months. It won't be perfect, but we can get it done. I'm not for amnesty. We do need to secure the border. A smart immigration makes our country stronger. Right now, we've got a weak one. One of the things I've said, I know the left, I know Hillary didn't like this, immigration without assimilation is invasion.
Look at fucking Rick
Santorum. We need to insist that people come here, learn English, adopt our values, roll up their sleeves, and get to work. We do need to secure the border.
He's just like, invasion. He said invasion. Wow.
Like your parents did.
Well, the whole time right. I was watching Santorum and I'm thinking in the back of his mind, like he's got this Homer soundtrack, but in Rick Santorum's it's just, I got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart.
Yeah. That's what he looked like. Yeah.
Well, just because you don't call it amnesty doesn't mean that what almost everybody in this field is for is allowing people who are in this country illegally, people who broke the law to come into this country, people who came here legally and overstayed to stay in America. Again, we have 35 million people. We have the highest percentage of immigrants in this country, as far as numbers ever, as far as percentage, the highest in 105 years. Wages are flatlined. The reason
because you
that
won't
you're
raise
seeing the angst and the anger around it, and the reason this issue is taken off is because
depressed.
Workers in America know that their wages are being undermined. If you look at from the year 2000,
it's not the immigrants, it's the rich people.
Right.
You're
pointing at the wrong people.
It's the CEOs making 300 times what the normal worker makes.
It's not the poor people, dude. No. It's just not the poor people.
Centers just sucking everything out of this.
And that's why they're
Your time is up, Governor. I'm sorry.
Your time is up. Your time is up. Your time is up. Shut the fuck up.
You need to clarify your position because you say you're not for amnesty, but you have been for a path to citizenship.
Dan, that's not right. What I've said consistently is secure the border. I've said after that is done, the American people will deal with the folks that are here pragmatically and compassionately. Now, Rick, if he wants to say that Rubio...
Did he want to do it with drone strikes?
No, he wasn't the one, but I'm sure he agrees with it.
I've never been for amnesty. Will never be for amnesty. Secure the border. We don't need to do that.
That was Ben Carson. That was Ben Carson.
I just remember Ann Coulter stroking herself over that.
Criminalize, accuse.
We call it Wall Reagan, and we have daily drone shows.
Daily drone shows, huh?
Thank you, Governor.
Fucking Coulter guys, man.
I want to change the subject. We're staying on
immigration.
I'm bringing you in, Governor Pataki.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you as well.
Governor
Pataki, Republicans
I'll give credit.
Debating birthright citizenship.
Well, Jeff said he was going to steal my right wing, too, and he never used that.
To every baby born in this country, even if they are born to undocumented immigrants. Senator Graham wants to end the policy of birthright citizenship. Governor Pataki, you support keeping it. Tell him why he's wrong.
Yeah, it's a small part of a very important issue. And let me comment on what my colleagues were saying here. We all agree you have to secure the border. We have to make sure that people come to America legally. That has got to be
fine.
It's fine.
Like, really.
have to stop releasing
And there's more people going back right now.
I'd rather have people that are crossing the border because they want to be here.
Right. And there's more people going back in reality. So, like, it breaks down both ways. Because they're always wrong about everything. You'll see as we go out, we go through the whole night, everything they're going to be wrong about. Generally, the only things they're going to be right about is when they're giving each other bullshit, right?
Pretty much.
So, like, when he's talking shit about Trump, he's telling us the fucking truth, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But when he starts talking about anything else,
citizenship,
he's wrong.
When it's social,
he's going to be dead wrong.
Every time on social policy, they're fucking wrong.
Across America.
Yeah, it's how the whole thing works.
And that is community service. 200 hours working in a hospital, working in a school.
It's smooth, though. It's really smooth the way they do it. But you'll see every time.
Why you think that we should preserve
I don't think that we should tell that child born in America that we're going to send it back. The way to avoid that is to have an intelligent immigration policy where we know who is coming here, why they are coming here, so we don't have this flood of people coming here for the wrong reason.
Senator Graham,
open the border and just say, hey,
what is
who
the
are
wrong
you?
reason? I mean, these people want to come here to make a better life for themselves and for their family, to protect their children. A lot of the people who are immigrating from Mexico, they're escaping the drug violence that fucking Ronald Reagan set into place.
From Mexico now anyway.
They're at the Reagan Library, who Reagan, you could argue, was the fucking key or primary instrument in creating the narco state that is Mexico now.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And then they're talking about, well, we want to make sure people are coming here for the right reasons. They're fleeing a country that you have helped fucking ruin.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's exactly it too. And they export their poverty too. You know, like they hand out pamphlets and here's how to get to America.
Yeah.
You know, here's how to get to America. And that we should let them come.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want people sneaking across the border, fine. Have a good open border where you go, okay, who are you? All right, where are you coming from?
Mm-hmm.
What are you coming here to do? Work? Okay, fine. Here's your visa.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with us.
Yeah, or even get the capitalist visa shit out of it too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to do that.
And communicate with the Mexican government.
Yeah.
Has this person ever been arrested or convicted of any crimes in your country?
Right.
What have they done bad in your country that may
and do those,
that we may say maybe we don't want?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
here.
Do those crimes translate to the U.S. government? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I said that, and then I just thought,
but we don't have any room.
But would Mexico really want to tell us? Oh, we're sending the bad people over there. Like, you know what I mean? They could just want to offload their problem children, but I don't know.
I suppose that's a risk.
Not have birthright citizenship,
probably for a good reason.
Why do you think Governor Pataki is wrong?
Wait,
what was that?
Let's talk.
Is he talking about anchor babies?
You're talking anchor babies.
Oh yeah, they've been talking a little bit about that.
But I want to hear what he said
about birthright citizenship and why you think that we should preserve birthright.
I don't think that we should tell that child born in America that we're going to send it back. The way to avoid that is to have an intelligent immigration policy where we know who is coming here, why they are coming here, so we don't have this flood of people coming here for the wrong reason.
Senator Graham, most countries in the world do not have birthright citizenship.
Probably for a good reason.
Why do you think Governor Pataki is wrong?
Well, let's talk about immigration. Number one, I like Rick. I don't remember the Santorum plan when I was in the Senate. The peanut gallery on this is
he thought that was going to do better.
I have been trying
he really did.
He looks around waiting for applause.
Shut up,
right.
So my amphibian buddies.
You went to the wrong. Well, welcome. Thank you very much for coming. The bottom line, I'm trying to fix the problem.
I think they filled the audience with people that wanted like free vouchers for movies
illegally,
and stuff.
But right. Start with felons and off.
They're all just waiting for the other debate to start.
Well, unlike the Fox one where they had like 30 people there
speak it very well.
at the first one.
Look how far I've come. Speaking English is a good thing. You got to pay taxes. You got to pay a fine. You got to get back in line.
They haven't shown much of the audience, I guess.
Border. They'll keep coming. If you don't control who gets a job, it never ends. We've got two borders. One with
was an attempt.
Canada, one
Hold
with
on,
Mexico.
One with Canada.
Did he just say Canada?
Did he really?
Hold that though, because if you go back a little ways, there's an obvious insertion by his writing team, to try to make him more charismatic. He threw a little joke in there because the last debate, when you watch him, he was dry as fucking Sahara, dude.
Right.
And humorless.
He's been doing that, throwing some jokes in there.
Yeah.
Watch, he's not really good at them.
He makes fun of his own ability to speak English.
Well, and his timing is fucking horrible, too.
Oh, yeah. He just rolled right over it. He just
can't even set up a fucking punchline to save his life.
Yeah, he just bulldozed it.
Our language. I don't speak it very well, but look how far I've come. Speaking English is a good thing. You got to pay taxes. You got to pay a fine. You got to get back in line. You've got to secure your border. They'll keep coming. If you don't control who gets a job, it never ends. We've got 2 borders. One with Canada, one with Canada. I've never met an illegal Canadian. This is an
in the back of his mind, he's like, "Oh, I fucked up.
God damn it.
Let's solve it." And
I've never been to our
nothing, and that's what we've been doing. As to birthright citizenship, once we clean up this mess, in the future, prospectively, I'm willing to look at the following. There are people buying tourist visas that go to resorts with maternity wards for the express purpose of having a child here in America. They're rich Asians. They're rich people from the Mideast.
Thank you, Senator.
That, to me, is bastardizing citizenship.
Thank you, Senator.
I'd like to stop that in the future.
Governor Pataki, we'll come back
that
to
all
you.
the time.
Not the moderator, Santorum. Shut
Like,
up.
what a wonderful thing to be able to give to your child if you lived in a different country. Dual citizenship and citizenship in America, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a cool thing?
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm holding on to my Texas citizenship just in case it ever comes in handy.
Right.
Troops and the technology necessary.
What'd you do with the 11 million?
As you know, Lindsey,
What are you going to do with
as you know, 40 to 60% of the 11 million are here on visa overstays. We know exactly who they are. We should know where they are, but we have a government that doesn't tell them to return home. You can solve half of the problem with the 11 million by simply telling
what government agency and people would they put in place to make sure that these people are sent home?
Yeah,
these are the people who are all about shrinking the government to where you can drown them in a bathtub, right?
And so he's saying you can get rid of half of them just by saying all you have to do is tell them to go home.
Yeah, tell them to go home and make the government tell them to go home. Who the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, if you actually break that down for a second and start to think about, okay, how many illegal immigrants are there in this country? Who are you going to send out to enforce these laws?
That's what I'm saying.
What branch of the government are you going to create? Yeah. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of agents that are going around, and then what?
Talking to tens of millions of people.
And what? Putting them in camps? As they await their deportation? I mean, is this what we're talking
we ship
about?
them
Are
to
you fucking kidding me?
To a coast? And
FEMA did create them camps already.
How many tax dollars are we talking about?
Right.
You know, and we're talking about increasing it on the people who can't afford it, and decreasing it on the people who can. How are you paying for this? Of course we want Bernie. Shut the fuck up.
that they have to return to their country.
Oh, Bernie!
So that's half your problem.
I'm feeling the burn.
How many Democrats did you have on your bill?
I don't know how many Democrats
I can
had
tell
on my
you
bill.
none.
But the point is,
I can tell you none.
The point is that
Shut the fuck up, Santorum.
Well, you're
oh
right.
shit! I missed that one.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
Oh, that
looked like a little.
That stunned him.
No, what was that?
I don't know how many Democrats I had on my bill.
None.
But the point is, the point is that I had a bill. And
that went nowhere.
Well, you're right, Lindsey. It went nowhere because we had a president back then who was for more comprehensive immigration reform
George
than I
W.
was.
Bush.
That's right.
Who won with Hispanics?
You know what we need to do, Lindsey, is we need to win. We need to win fighting for America. We need to win fighting for
Santorum's Santorum's like, you know what, Lindsey? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
The people who are hurt the most by illegal immigration are Hispanics.
In my world, Hispanics are Americans.
The folks who hurt the worst.
Look at Jindal just in the middle, like
by illegal immigrants coming to this country. Last year alone, 700,000 illegal immigrants came into this country. Who do you think are most impacted? It's the folks who came into this country, played by the rules, did what they were supposed to do, came here and went to work, and now they're finding themselves out of work because someone illegally is willing to come in
this country
and work
last night.
I have a little different take on where the country is going on this issue. Number one, in 1950, there were 16 workers for every retiree. How many are there today?
They're
There's
desperate
3.
now. This is
in 20 years, there's going to be 2. And you're going to have 80 million baby boomers like me retire en masse, wanting a Social Security check and the Medicare bills paid.
Yeah, en masse is right.
Oh, Lindsey, if you pull Social Security, you're an asshole. You've got more than enough money.
The world on our terms, not just somebody from Mexico. Let's create a rational, legal immigration system because we have a declining workforce.
Thank you, Senator.
Strom Thurmond had 4 kids after he's 67. If you're not willing to do that, we better come up with a new legal immigration system.
Thank you, Senator.
Didn't Strom Thurmond? No, he was just notoriously racist.
They're all about breeding their way out of problems as if that's a solution somehow.
The thing is, I think we can expect. Yeah, go ahead. You can pause it. I think we can expect to see a lot of controversy tonight.
Yeah,
because I think we're seeing desperation. Especially out of these 4.
Yeah,
because with Rick Perry's recent failure in his campaign. These guys are feeling the pressure a little bit, and they've seen what's been working, and that's Trump, and that's controversy.
Right.
Well, and bashing on immigrants. I mean, that's exactly what they've been doing for this whole time.
So they're gonna do their damnedest to play that game. I haven't seen Lindsey Graham this animated in 25 years.
I mean, he's having a lot of fun, isn't he? He's up there. He's like, oh yeah.
He doesn't stand this fucking snowball's chance in hell of winning this thing.
Well, and they are.
He doesn't. But
he's starting to
doing
get fun to watch.
And it's playing that game that's been working so far for the leading candidates.
Yeah, and they're all just following Trump's lead, though. I mean, they're talking about immigration. Mm-hmm. They're talking about ISIS and killing all of the people over there so they don't come over here.
Yep.
Those are Trump's two main talking points.
Yep.
And they're playing right into that and following his lead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's leading, so that must be what all of the assholes who would vote for me will want me to hear or want me to talk about.
That pick of Santorum right there, though.
Governor Pataki.
We have to deal with the people who are here illegally. We can't just ignore them or send them back. I think my policy would work to give them legal status, make them a part of an economy that will grow and help America.
I want to turn to another pressing immigration issue, Governor Jindal. Over the next year, at least 10,000 Syrian refugees will be allowed to enter the United States.
Ooh,
Governor
10,000.
You said it's
wow.
ridiculous for America to let more refugees in from Syria. And you have expressed concerns about security. Senator Graham says that the United States has a moral obligation to these Syrian refugees.
Did you see that guy in the audience yawning?
Governor Jindal, does the United States have any obligation to them?
You're goddamn
Jake,
right.
Look, America is the most compassionate country in the entire world. We
Bullshit.
do more for folks around the world.
We're definitely not.
America is inhumane.
Let us draw a line, a direct line.
In many ways.
This refugee crisis and this president's failed foreign policy. He drew a red line in Syria. And
it's Obama's fault that Syria blew up.
We're seeing millions of refugees potentially, hundreds of thousands going into Europe. The answer is not to put a Band-Aid on this and allow even more people to come into America. We should not short circuit. We've got a vetting process. We've got a normal refugee process. Simply allowing more people into our country doesn't solve this problem. The way to solve this problem is for us to be clear to our friends and allies that we are going to replace Assad. We're going to hunt down and destroy ISIS. Our friends don't trust us. Our enemies don't fear and respect us. But I want to go.
It's a lot more
complicated.
We're going
to blow everything up, and then nothing's going to surface in its place, and everything's going to be okay after that. That's what he's saying.
We can't go in and roust Assad because who are his biggest fucking payrollees? You have Russia and China.
Yeah.
That sell him weapons all over the place.
Yeah.
And so if you go in there and remove one of their biggest customers, they're going to come in and go like, hey, America, nope.
They might.
I mean, shit, Russia's already there.
Right.
They've got tanks at airstrips, and they've got fucking troops training people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want U.S. support to quell ISIS. Mm-hmm. Russia does right now.
Why not? Show Russia, look, we're on the same page, but like, don't fucking send people into Raqqa again. Don't send people into all these places where they're going to be gunned down by our own shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Contain them.
Let me be very clear. Immigration, we need to insist on assimilation and integration. My parents came here legally almost 45 years ago. They came here, they followed the rule of law.
Good for you, Whitey.
They knew English, they adopted
Good for you.
They come here to be hyphenated Americans. They're not Indian.
Don't mean to be hypercritical, but look at the cut of his suit. His right lapel is fucked up compared to his left.
Is it really?
Yeah, wait till when it comes to Syrian refugees.
Yeah, number one, how does President Obama sleep at night?
I don't know.
Between a set of big old titties.
Your commanders told you don't withdraw from Iraq because we'll lose all of our gains.
But Michelle's
3 years
fine,
ago,
man.
your entire national security team, Senator McCain and I begged you to do a no-fly zone and help the Free Syrian Army while it would matter, but you said no. I'm not blaming Bobby. I'm not blaming Rick. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm blaming Barack Obama for this.
He said no.
Because, ISIS has an Air Force.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and
just think about
talking about the situation in the Middle East.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just blaming Barack Hussein Obama.
Graham, you mentioned this earlier. You
I don't have anything to do with it.
We get a bomb.
ISIS in Iraq and Syria. And you have said, again, just this evening, that anyone who's not willing to do that should not be commander-in-chief.
He looks like a fat,
no one on this stage has
alcoholic
gone that
Ricky
far.
Gervais.
So are you saying, for Iraq and
Syria,
older,
20 years from now,
saying that everybody to your right is not fit for the Oval Office?
I'm saying this, if they don't understand that Barack Obama's policies are not working, that we're not going to destroy ISIL in Iraq and Syria from the air, they are not ready. What have I learned in 35 trips? I learned what works and what doesn't. We were in a good spot in Iraq. President Bush made mistakes, but he adjusted. To those who fought in Iraq, you did your job, and Barack Obama wasted it all. Now we're in a spot where ISIL soon.
Wow, really?
3,500 American boots on the ground. You would never know it.
Where's Ryan? Need Duffy for that.
But we need about 10,000 to turn the tide of battle in Iraq.
Sorry.
Then there is nobody left, Dana, to train inside of Syria. We spent $50 million training 54 people, and they're down to 4 or 5. They have been slaughtered. 4 or 5. So we're going to need a regional army. The Turks, the Jordanians, the Saudis, the Egyptians get their armies up together.
Yes, because Saudis really jump into anything, don't they?
Yeah, they're so helpful.
Planes and fly them into buildings here in the U.S.
But 10% at least will have to be us, and we're going in on the ground.
Saudi Air Force, armed with box cutters.
By its roots, and we're going to kill every one of these bastards.
Armed with box cutters and American Airlines planes.
It's like he's playing a game of Risk, right?
Yeah. Raising your hand. You're committing to this number of troops, both in Iraq and on the ground in Syria?
I had proposed 10,000 troops. I did so about 6-7 months ago, that we needed to deploy additional troops to do exactly what Lindsey said. Arm the Kurds.
And he's saying 20,000. Would you?
I've said 10,000. And
fuck it, let's go 50. Do I hear 60, 60, 65, 60, 65?
Wouldn't it be great if he just said that, though?
Because once you establish a caliphate, you have an area of control.
Lindsey's a pussy. Let's throw in 100,000.
Caliphate, because if you don't, then in the Islamic world, it's seen as a legitimate caliphate.
Whatever it takes.
As long as they have territorial integrity and even
10,
expanded,
20, 30,
they have legitimacy
40, 50,
in much of the Muslim world
150
to
million,
call people to join their jihad here in America, as well as in Iraq and in Syria. So we must take their ground.
Thank you, Senator. Governor Jindal?
Look, absolutely. We need to do whatever is necessary to
that was so easy in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a sidetrack, but you know what fucking kills me? Every Sunday I watch Fox News Sunday and Meet the Press. And I see so many fucking commercials for Wounded Warrior Project.
Yeah.
I think Wounded Warrior Project probably is a good organization who does a lot of great things, but they shouldn't fucking exist. Why is Wounded Warrior Project a thing? Why isn't the United States government taking care of the people that they send over to the fucking sandbox to get blown up and maimed, and then they come home and they have no support? They have to rely on private donations and private companies and private charities to help them out because the United States government doesn't fucking help them. They send them over as fucking pawns to be blown up and killed, come back home with with fucking mental health problems, with physical problems. Yeah. And they don't fucking take care of them, and they treat them like shit. The VA administration is falling apart. They don't take care of anybody who comes back from the wars they fucking send them to because they don't fucking care about them.
Well, and it's interesting too because, you know, if you look at like typically on the liberal and democratic side, they're much less likely to send those same units to war in the first place.
Right.
And they're far more likely to fund the healthcare that they need if they were to send them in the first place. So you've got a weird juxtaposition, and with the Republicans, they'll send them to war all day, every day, 100,000, who's got 200,000, just like we were talking about. And then when they come back, just like with the abortion, nope, you have to have the kid, but fuck the social programs.
Yeah.
They're going to cut all the ways that's going to help them after they've already done the job you wanted them to do in the first place.
Well, and I just love how they're immediately offering like 10,000 troops just fucking willy-nilly.
Right.
Like, let's just go ahead and send 10,000. Who exactly? I mean, okay, You send troops over there. That means you have to send not only troops on the ground, you have to send the people that are the support group, you have to send the quartermasters, you have to send the people that are going to drop them there, who are going to pick them up, who are going to take care of all their shit.
And we privatized all of that shit.
You're going to have contractors out the fucking asshole.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have contractors competing for all that stuff.
We used to just do that in-house, and now it's all privatized.
Yeah. And so it's the Republican way.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these people, especially Santorum and shit, they don't have kids that are serving. If any of these people had kids that were serving, they would be really fucking reluctant to say, oh, we're going to send people in.
But that shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
That shouldn't be the point. That it should not hinge upon whether or not it affects them personally.
But they should think twice before they think about sending somebody else's kid, you know?
But this is the difference between, in my opinion, between liberalism and conservatism.
Yeah.
Liberals and atheists are able to they're able to put themselves in the position of both sides of the argument,
right?
And they come out on the right side of that because getting the answers right equals being right. Okay, so conservatives and theists continually and constantly show themselves completely inept and incapable of looking at both sides of the argument.
And that's what I said. They were wrong about everything.
They're wrong about everything. Yeah, they just are.
And why won't they let Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah, exactly.
Why won't they let Jesus take the wheel in this case? Fuck it. ISIS is taking over, but don't worry. Jesus will sort this shit out.
It's his fucking home territory.
Right?
Yeah, you'd think he'd give a shit.
They're stomping all over Jesus' backyard, and he doesn't do a goddamn thing.
And I think I read a couple of Vice articles where ISIS is waiting for us to come there to fulfill end time prophecy bullshit.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Well, and the Christians in this country want to have that happen because that fulfills their end time prophecy.
A lot of the videos that they filmed.
I mean, it's just great.
Of the guys being beheaded and shit.
Yeah.
They take them specifically to this one land. I apologize for not knowing the name of it because it's in Arabic. I don't know the fucking name of it. But anyway, they take him specifically to this place, even trucking him thousands of miles to go there to execute him on that land to say, hey, look, come fight us. Because they want to start the fucking ball for Muhammad to come back. They want to start the ball for Isa, who is Jesus, to come back.
Jihad Muhammad is a dick, right?
Muhammad Allah.
We went to the Pentagon the same week they announced they were cutting back the number of troops in the Army to say that we're going to win this through guns. It's going to be a change of hearts and minds. This will be a generational conflict. That is nonsense. These are barbarians. They are burning, crucifying people alive.
Barbarians.
That's not wrong.
We need to hunt them down and kill them.
No, but the reason they're
we need to hunt them down and kill them.
If I may, does that include American ground forces in Syria as part of a regional army? Are all of you willing to commit to American ground forces going in Syria?
You know what? I feel a little bad for Pataki, actually.
Headquarters.
Governor Pataki?
I feel a little bit bad for him at this point because I just don't think he's the same level of conservative Republican as these other three guys.
No, he's not.
I think he's a moderate Republican that leans a little bit Democratic on some certain issues.
He's not going to be able to get through.
I think he's part of the old Republican Party that used to be a lot more
reasonable,
right? You know, for sure. I think he's sort of a remnant of that. You know, he's trying to put on this folksy accent. He's trying to play all this.
Not so fucking hawkish.
And every time these guys go nutso fucking Republican GOP, he's like, I can't do that.
You guys are scaring the shit out of me.
He's trying to back off from that a little bit, but he knows that's not going to win the vote. I mean, I feel a little bad for him, but I mean, he has no shot in hell. In either party.
And Lindsey,
none of these guys are going to make it, and thankfully, but I feel a little bad for Pataki. He's trying to do the right thing, but at the same time appeal to the voters. But he can't.
But he's in the wrong party to appeal for the vote.
He's stuck. He couldn't win in the Democratic Party either right now.
No.
I keep waiting for him to go, do you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, I know. Well, you can tell how much he's trying to be conservative because he only talks out of the right side of his mouth.
Boom.
Well, and the conservative answer for any difficult question is we're not killing enough people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, or too many poor people.
Yeah, we're not killing enough. Well, if we were to kill more people, we wouldn't have as many poor people.
Kill the poor. Kill
they don't realize that the military they're using are poor people.
Yeah.
Last week was the anniversary of September 11th.
Oh, shit.
Of New York on
September 11th.
Led us through that horrible day.
Finish your drinks.
Finish your drinks. We cannot assume that because radical Islam is a continent away.
But I learned.
He did it again.
I learned it's not a threat.
In the last debate, he kept saying, I was the governor of New York when 9/11 happened. Like, that's not something you should brag about.
No.
Like, that happened on your watch. That's bad.
20,000
right.
troops. In my view, it's three things. First, we have to directly arm those fighting ISIS on the ground now.
Thank you, Governor.
Shut up, dude. That ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Like, it's never worked.
He's visibly frustrated by being cut off there, and I understand that. Because he's had no time.
A high school student in Texas was arrested on Monday for bringing a homemade clock to school.
Wow, that's fucking fast, man. That was today.
Yeah. Police released the young man after they determined it was, in fact, a clock. Today, President Obama
it broke today. I think it was Monday that it happened.
Governor Jindal, throughout your campaign, you've spoken many times about Muslim extremists in this country.
It's a Muslim.
How would you, as president, strike a balance between vigilance and discrimination?
Well, Jake, look, I think the American people, we don't discriminate against anybody based on the color of their skin.
Bullshit!
What? You say to Muslim leaders, they've got two responsibilities. One, it's not enough to denounce just simply generic acts of violence. They've got to denounce the individuals by name and say these aren't martyrs. These terrorists are not martyrs. Rather, they're going straight to hell. They're not going to enjoy a reward in their afterlife.
Except the Hadith says otherwise.
Embrace the same
Quran says otherwise.
Else they want for themselves.
Their supernatural shit isn't as good as my supernatural shit.
According to Christianity.
Can you imagine if every time like a Christian kills somebody, we had to ask every Christian to denounce that person as a Christian and denounce themselves from them? Can you imagine?
It's even better than that.
If they flipped it
you'd
around?
have to ask a Muslim if that Christian counted.
Yeah,
right.
That's what they're doing.
He's a Christian saying that Muslims don't count because Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
I know it's politically
the Muslims still believe in Jesus.
And there's no racism in America.
Yeah.
By the way,
no, none.
You know, none of our cops profile people at all.
Our president
at all.
No. Oh, Jesus, don't start on cops.
Brings up the Crusades, criticizes Christians. We're at war today with radical Islamic extremists. It's not politically correct to say that, but the way you strike that balance, you say to Muslim leaders, denounce these fools, these radical terrorists by name.
Kickflips on their
Say they're not
skateboard.
Governor Jindal, I'm afraid you didn't answer the question. How do you strike the balance between vigilance and discrimination? Obviously, we know how you feel about the vigilance part of this. Do you ever see the discrimination part of it?
Sure. I don't think a 14-year-old should ever get arrested for bringing a clock to school. So if you ask me, am I glad he wasn't he was released? I'm glad that police are careful. I'm glad they're worried about security and safety issues.
Except the cop at the school was like, yeah, I could have figured it was you.
Against Christian business owners and individuals.
He had a NASA t-shirt on or something.
Oh my God!
Yeah. We missed a whole bunch there. He went to a complete non sequitur about same-sex marriage and Christianity in this country.
Yeah,
whoa!
Well, yeah, I was looking at Forrest.
He just took a left turn.
Just fucking flipped the script on that. Like,
right? Yeah, he steered into the crazy scale.
Yeah, I'm turning around.
A 14-year-old should ever get arrested for bringing a clock to school. So if you ask me, am I glad he wasn't he was released? I'm glad that police are careful. I'm glad they're worried about security and safety issues. Look, in America, we don't tolerate, right now, the biggest discrimination going on is against Christian business owners and individuals who believe in traditional forms of marriage.
Holy
bullshit. That's the biggest discrimination in this country.
Form of discrimination.
Fuck you.
Who simply want to say, don't arrest us
from rich Christians.
Don't discriminate against us. Don't shut down our businesses. Don't fine us thousands of dollars for believing marriage is between a man and a woman. Let's talk about not discriminating against Christians.
We will get to that.
You're not fined thousands of dollars for that. You're fined for doxing people. You're fined for causing them civil issues.
I am worried about radical Islamic terrorists who are already planning another 9/11.
Fear.
War, folks.
War, folks.
I'm afraid.
War.
Yeah,
love Lindsey. Don't you just love Lindsey? War. We're at war, folks.
Young men from the Mideast are different than Kim Davis.
They are different.
There we go.
There's Kim.
Need to be monitored.
Pataki's like, I'm done.
Young men from the Middle East need to be monitored.
Yes, Kim Davis.
Holy shit.
Yeah, just like Bobby Jindal.
Than Kim Davis.
Slap a bracelet on all of them.
Understand that.
Thank you, Senator.
Islamic websites need to be monitored.
Oh, websites. Okay.
I want to know what you're doing.
Governor Pataki.
Well, the NSA is monitoring everything.
This is different from Islamists, radicals from the Middle East. But on the other hand, We have one rule of law in America. And an elected official can't say that I'm not going to follow that law if it conflicts with my beliefs. I think she should have been fired, and if she had worked for me, I'd be fired.
Yes.
I told you.
Way to go, George.
Thank you, Governor. Imagine 1 minute.
And look at Santorum shaking his head.
That was a Muslim who said that I don't believe in gay marriage and refused to perform that wedding. We wouldn't have had that outrage. There is a place where the religion supersedes the rule of law. It's called Iran. It shouldn't be.
Oh, boom! Yeah. I told you. He's far too reasonable for this Republican Party. Right? He just is.
And he just fucking committed political suicide.
Yeah, he did, but he went down
and fucking swinging.
With a moral high ground.
Yeah.
No. He knows it too. Look at his face. I was like, he knows it. He lost it. But yes, exactly so.
He's the most reasonable person on the fucking stage.
That's why I was just saying, I feel a little bad for him because I think he's a remnant of the old Republican Party.
Yeah.
Okay. But because he's looking at all these other fucking wackos.
Yeah.
He's shaking his head.
But Lindsey is still my favorite. He's still my favorite.
He is the most entertaining one tonight.
Right. Because, war, and we gotta be afraid.
And have you watched his demeanor while he's standing there? He's just like, he'll say something, and then while everybody else is talking, he's just like, oh, Jesus, this guy's a fucking moron. Looking off, shaking his head, rocking back and forth.
I know, and he trips me out, too, because
sometimes he starts popping off in the middle of this shit,
Oh, well, you're a fucking dumbass, and here's why.
Yeah. And while he's saying all this super crazy stuff, he's just blank stare, straight-faced, glossy-eyed, no emotion at all, just saying this wacko stuff.
It's the bloodlust.
He's a fucking psycho, dude.
He's like, am I going to have the blonde or the brunette when I get home tonight?
Man, you mean?
Welcome back to the CNN Republican debate.
Cut or uncut?
Not that that's a problem.
Right. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Exactly. Cocksuckers are our friends.
There you go. Heroes.
The heroes.
Said he would have fired Kim Davis, the Kentucky clerk, jailed for refusing to issue same-sex marriage licenses. Senator Santorum, do you agree with Governor Pataki?
Of course not.
16 years ago, this country was tremendously inspired by a young woman who faced a gunman in Columbine and was challenged about her faith, and she refused to deny God. We saw her as a hero.
She wasn't fucking a government employee who's not doing her fucking job.
Right.
No, she was a victim. Kim Davis is a fucking bigot.
Someone who refuses to defy a judge's unconstitutional verdict.
No, it's constitutional.
Is ridiculed and criticized.
The Supreme Court.
Okay, you want to be president and you don't even understand the most basic laws of this country.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
You're a fucking
it's
moron.
So much bullshit. Like, just shut the fuck up.
That is a huge difference in 16 years. People have a fundamental right in the First Amendment. There's no more important right. It is the right that is the trunk that all other rights come from, and that's the freedom of conscience.
What? That's not even in there.
But even then, she still has that right, that freedom of conscience. But she doesn't have the right to do that as part of her fucking job. Well, she has a job to fucking do.
She has the right to hold her little believies over here and pray with her kids and raise them how they want, how
go
she
to
wants,
church,
and do all of that shit. She has all of those rights, but she does not have the right to make everybody else live by those rights.
She cannot force other people to conform to her religious beliefs.
She can't use the force of government to make other people conform to her.
So here again, we have the combination of conservative theists and liberal atheists, and guess which side can't understand the other side of the argument?
Well, the right side.
Yeah,
because they're wrong about everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I told you right at the beginning, I was like, you watch, they're going to be wrong about everything. The only thing they're going to be right about
each other. Yeah.
And I think Pataki broke that out a little bit at the end. And look at the look on his face.
Look at the look on his face right now. Look at fucking Santorum.
And look what it's done to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. I feel a little bad for him, but that's okay.
He broke the pattern I set for him, and look what it's done to him.
America, that we have no room. Well, how many bakers? How many florists?
Oh, God.
How many pastors? How many clerks are we going to throw in jail?
All of them, if they're not going to do their fucking job and follow the law.
Except the pastors.
Faith says is against its teachings.
And who is he to determine what brand of faith is more valid than any other?
Yeah, right.
There are so many liberal Christians out there who would have no fucking problem with this at all, but he would disagree with them and tell them that they shouldn't do that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That they should follow his brand of Christianity and not do these things.
Yeah.
That is why we have a separation of government and religion, so that nobody can say my religion is better than yours, and I'm going to make this part of our governmental system.
Right.
And if they were never joined before, and now they're like joined together under like one umbrella, which is a whole new thing, a whole new dynamic on our politics, because like the Catholics and the Baptists, they didn't really like work together before.
Right.
And they didn't pool their money and their resources together before
and they're doing it more
especially on large scales, and so they've created this thing, but really they don't really care for each other much.
No, they don't.
I mean,
the second that they win, or they won't, but I mean, the second that they, if they were to ever win, the second that happens, they'd be fucking fighting with each other just as much as they are with everybody else who wants a secular government.
To break down, and they think that that's a good idea.
Yeah,
and that's why I think we have the rise of the nuns in this country. Why
are we going to instill a Jehovah's Witness government where fuck all of the federal holidays because those are celebrations that we can't have?
Right, or a Christian Scientist and shut down all of your fucking Catholic hospitals now.
I wouldn't be able to donate plasma anymore.
No, you wouldn't. And the funny thing is, too, since you bring that up for us, Santorum is a fucking Catholic.
Yep.
But he acts like a goddamn evangelical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He acts and sounds just like a fucking evangelical.
Yeah.
But he's the same guy that told the Pope to shut the fuck up about climate change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the Pope is too liberal for this fucking guy.
Oh, man, did you guys
way
see this
too
shit?
liberal.
This is a bit of like news that came out just the last couple of days. Did you see what the Pope said about taxing churches that don't actually like treat the poor? He said
tax them.
If you're not going to help people,
if you're not going to help people,
their money.
Tax you. If you're just going to be a hotel shell scheme.
I could give a flying fuck less what France Tarkenton says, because that son of a bitch, that fucking asshole goes around and just tells all the reporters everything they want to hear and makes absolutely zero changes in terms of policy. But does nothing at all.
But the fact
is, fucking work.
It seems like he could do something, right?
Yeah, he's worse than fucking Nazi Ratzinger. He's worse because at least Ratzinger was
followed the shit. Yeah,
he was honest. This guy just fucking lies.
I just love it when he comes out and says this shit, because you get a whole bunch of people that are like, "Oh, I love the Pope," and then you get a whole bunch of other people on the extreme right, like the Westboro people that are like, "Oh, go fuck yourself."
Yeah, the Santorums. Yeah, that's a constant popey diaper. That guy is a fucking retard.
There's not room in America. I believe there has to be room. First, I believe we have to pass the First Amendment Defense Act, which provides that room for government officials and others who do not want to be complicit in what they believe.
Then they get fucking fired.
Is against their faith.
Then they can't do that job.
So then anybody could just say, this is part of my religion, I'm not going to fucking do it. I'm not going to work on Fridays because I'm a Pastafarian, and that's my religious observance day.
Yep. And I could drink at work. How about that? That'd be
fuck yeah.
Yep. So short-sighted.
We need, as a president who's going to fight a court that is abusive, that has superseded their authority.
They're all Catholics.
Judicial supremacy is not in the Constitution, and we need a president and a Congress to stand up to a court.
They're all
when
Catholics
it
except for Ginsburg.
Authority.
Thank you,
but I mean, you couldn't get a more biased court than what he wants.
And my response is
religiously biased.
Yeah, you couldn't possibly.
We're going to have a president who defies the Supreme Court because they don't agree.
If they're wrong,
then
if they're wrong,
you have this judicial supremacy. You don't have a rule of law.
I got fire in my eye now.
He's like fuck the different branches of government. If I think that that's the way it should be, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Fuck yeah, he says.
Separation of powers be damned. I would be the president, and I would tell them to go fuck themselves.
He's talking rule of law. Who fucking interprets the law?
Right.
He doesn't want to be president. He wants to be king.
Yeah, he wants to be he wants to be king.
You know what?
Yeah, he wants a fucking.
I'd be
king.
I'd be king. Would you be king?
Fuck no. Hell no.
I'd do it.
It's good to be king.
I'd do it.
You know what really is crazy.
I don't like being in positions of authority.
No,
because I've never abused it.
Says the guy with the remote.
Yes,
I've never abused it, as far as I know. If I have, I hope somebody would point it out to me.
You're a fair king,
but I don't like being in positions of authority because anything and everything you do
microscope.
People are going to say you're doing it because you're in a position of authority.
Yeah.
I have a problem with authority myself. Like I have a problem with authority, and I really have a fucking problem with people who have petty authority and use that as a cudgel over other people.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many different times like fucking some person has approached me with some little petty authority. I'm like, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
Right. Kim Davis.
You are
exactly
king
that.
shit of the smallest hill of turds that I've ever seen. Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
So what do you think of mall
What are you
going
to do to me?
Here's the funny thing though. This guy's running for president. President.
Right.
He's been in Congress for how many years?
I don't know.
Too many. And there's 4 dipshit dudes who know, none of us work in politics as far as I know.
Yeah.
That know more about constitutional law than this fucking asshole who's running for president.
Right, but we understand.
I mean, this is insane.
All of us understand the basic shit of civics. 3 branches, separate and equal.
Right, and exactly what the amendments mean.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the power extends beyond every other amendment.
Do you think that he doesn't know what they are, or do you think that he just doesn't fucking care because he's got his Jesus goggles on and none of that matters? None of the standing law matters if it conflicts with what Jesus says.
Okay, well, that's also illegal. So, yes, he doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
So then,
he doesn't understand. It's all right, though. He
gets me
care.
how they keep bringing up these individual businesses. We don't want to support gay people. We don't want to sell to gay people. It's like, why would you turn away clientele? As a small business, that's everything. Word of mouth is fucking everything.
Also, cut your fucking claws, Rick. Fucking Santa Cure.
He needs those French
nice.
tips.
Look at that.
Look at that pinky. He could do like a line of coke off that.
Those are
shit.
some long fingernails.
That's his coke nail.
Hit it.
I get scratchy.
The elected representatives of the people always have the opportunity to change that law. The Supreme Court makes a determination, but it's ultimately the elected officials who decide whether or not that would be accepted. By the way, if I have a chance to
because he realized he was getting
judges who understand their role, they're not going to be making the law. They're going to be interpreting law that the elected officials pass.
That's what they
But
did.
there's a huge difference between an individual standing up and saying, I am going to stand for my religious freedom and my religious rights. I applaud that. This is America. You should be able to engage in your religious belief in the way you see fit.
Sure.
But when you're an elected official and you take an oath of office to uphold the law, all the laws, you cannot pick and choose, or you no longer have a society that's
exactly right.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Listen to all the applause.
Wow,
even
man.
I'm really surprised to see all these people clapping.
Exactly so.
Santorum's like,
Look, did you see Rick Perry's face? Or fucking Santorum?
When you're an elected official,
watch Santorum's face. He's just like, oh, wow.
To uphold the law, all the laws. You
Shit, he's
cannot
right.
pick and choose, or you no longer have a society that depends on the rule of law.
He's going to disagree.
I disagree.
Santorum?
Martin Luther King wrote a letter from a Birmingham jail.
Oh, shit.
And he said in that letter that there are just laws
Nothing to do.
and there are unjust laws.
Yes.
And we have no obligation to condone and accept.
And Martin Luther King was talking about discriminatory fucking laws, you stupid jackass.
Yes, he was. He was talking about the kinds of laws that Kim Davis is trying to impose.
God damn.
So
then he followed up and said, what's an unjust law? An unjust law is a law that goes against the moral code or God's law or the natural law. I would argue that what the Supreme Court did is against the natural law, it's against God's law, and we have every obligation.
God's law does not fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
Jake,
and natural law
I didn't agree with
means absolutely nothing.
decision.
How many hundreds of other fucking laws of these God's laws that these guys not living with?
Martin Luther King, and he was prepared to break the law, but it wasn't in
every fucking one of them is in a suit that's a poly fucking blend.
Yep,
of course.
Yep.
And I'm sure they got gardens at home with
and they've cut the hair of their fucking temples.
Yep. And do none of them eat at Red Lobster?
It was civil disobedience.
I bet you Santorum's got a hell of a tramp stamp, too.
Voluntarily go to jail with his followers to send a message to the elected representatives that these laws were wrong and had to be
Let me just pull this off.
And because
Snap,
of his
throw it on his
courage,
back.
we didn't
I'm
ignore
done.
the courts. We changed the laws and made America a better place. That's the way to do it.
Thank you, Governor.
Jake,
What comment about you?
Oh, Bobby Jindal got something. Bobby Jindal got
I've
something.
got a practical question.
I hate the gays,
give us a
too.
list of jobs that Christians aren't allowed to have. If we're not allowed to be clerks, bakers, musicians, caterers, are we allowed to be pastors?
You're allowed to be all of those fucking things, but you have to follow the goddamn law.
I took a fucking oath of office in my job that I work at. Same one that the president takes. Which means I'll follow every law and defend the Constitution. She is not following the same goddamn rules as everybody else.
She's not following the fucking law. It's the law. She's not following the law.
Yep. When the Supreme Court says, you will do this, you have to say, okay.
Point. The First Amendment rights, the right to religious freedom is in the First Amendment of the Constitution. It isn't breaking the law to exercise our constitutional rights. America did not create religious liberty. Religious liberty created the United States of America. It is the
Bull fucking shit. Nope. Learn your history, bro.
No, dude.
Law student. By the end
war.
The King of England created the United States, you know.
But
Lindsey's up.
Oh, he made a little joke. What was his little joke?
Oh, even Bobby smiled. Everyone, they're all smiling.
I wasn't the best law student. By the end of this debate, it'd be the most time I've ever spent in any library. But
why is that a thing too? Like Republicans always try to say,
they love how
I'm not
stupid
smart.
I'm stupid.
Yeah, they love that.
I'm stupid. I'm just like you.
Yeah, they love how fucking dumb they are. Look at. Did you see Jindal's face? Oh my god.
It's called
Looked like a
Marbury
baby's
versus
first
Madison.
pickle.
The group in our constitutional democracy that interprets the Constitution
That's a shit-eating
as
grin
to
if I've
what
ever
it
seen
means
it.
is the Supreme Court. In a
like a video game
5-4
character.
decision by the Supreme Court, they have ruled that same-sex marriage bans at the state level violate the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution Equal Protection Clause. I don't agree with it, but that is the law of the land. But as president, what I want to make sure of is that everybody in this room, Christian, Jewish,
Muslim,
atheist,
whatever religion that you can,
whatever religion,
faith
whatever
without
religion,
government
every time.
interference, you can marry people consistent with the tenets of your faith. That's the number one obligation of my presidency, is to protect religious people when they exercise their religious rights. But this decision is the law as it is of right now.
Yep.
And here's the one thing I want to tell you.
Thank
Jake.
you, Senator.
Wait a minute. Were you the wedding cake baker?
Nice.
Or the gay couple? Or the Baptist preacher? Radical Islam would kill you all if they could.
Senator,
kill you
all.
Oh, shit. Big picture here.
Wow.
Let's get back to talking about killing people.
Yeehaw! Ronald Reagan.
Senators Graham
didn't
and
see that coming.
Santorum voted to confirm Chief Justice of the United States.
It was
John
Lindsey
Roberts,
Graham. You
who
had to have
has
seen it coming.
led
I know, but
with the majority
still sucker
twice
punched
to
me.
uphold Obamacare. Do you think that Graham's and Santorum's votes to confirm John Roberts were a mistake?
I think absolutely putting Roberts, I think putting Kennedy, I think putting before them, I think putting Souter on the bench was a mistake. But look, I think the first responsibility starts in the White House. The reality is conservatives have not been willing to stand up for our beliefs. Unlike the liberals, look, you never worry about where the Democratic judges are going to vote. It's always the conservatives. You've never had a Democratic judge wake up and say, surprise, I've evolved, I've become a conservative. It's always the Republicans because we have
because they fucking learn more.
Yeah, that's exactly the same reason why nobody goes from atheism to Christianity, you fucking moron. Because atheism and liberalism is the right answer.
Right.
They don't evolve into more conservative, discriminatory views because those views are fucking wrong.
As you learn more, you get less discriminatory, less conservative, you get less religious,
you increase your humanity, Christian. You increase your compassion for other people.
It's exactly why that happens, you fucking dummy.
Well, the real problem here is people are just getting too goddamn smart.
Yep. Yeah. They'll tell you too.
That's what he's saying,
rulings,
right?
No writings. I'll tell you, I am going to have a litmus test. For judges, I'm going to find
what's your
judges
IQ?
that are conservative.
If it's
Judges
above 50, you're not qualified. You're not qualified.
Yeah.
Do you believe in
by
God?
The way, they're going to follow the American law, not international law. They're not appointed there to interpret international law. They're there to apply the United States Constitution. Judges understand their job's not to write law. If they want to write law, they should run for the Senate or the House. It's time for a Republican president as the next commander-in-chief. I will do as the Democrats have done. I will appoint bold judges that are actually consistent with my values, that'll be conservatives, and then force the Senate to
Thank you,
confirm
Governor. Senator Graham,
You're the executive branch, not the judicial, asshole.
Anthony Kennedy was, of course, a Ronald Reagan appointee. Senator Graham, do you stand by your vote for John Roberts?
He is one of the most qualified men to ever come to
War.
the United States Senate.
War.
With his decision. But 99 times out of 100, I will. To the Republicans.
Well, what?
The biggest prize on the table
Vote to
in
confirm
2017
Chief Justice
is the
Roberts.
presidency. If it is
99%
Hillary
times
Clinton,
he will.
Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders, They're going to pick people that we will disagree with all the time.
Yep.
Please
because they're smarter than you, voters.
This election. The court's at stake. It is the most important reason for us to turn out to make sure we don't
war.
Fear. The biggest things is that you need to realize that judges need to be smarter than you are.
Well, contrary to what Governor Jindal said, Justice Roberts had a long record, and it was a long, good record. And so he made a couple of bad decisions on Obamacare, but he's made a lot of great decisions too. And so I don't regret at all standing up for John Roberts, but you know, it's easy to sit out in Louisiana and talk about how, I'd be tougher. I fought when I was in the United States Senate. We fought for the first time to defeat justices and judges that Bill Clinton nominated, and I fought with President Bush to defend his nominees, to push even a filibuster, breaking the filibuster. I led that fight against some who didn't want to end the filibuster.
How did he lead all the fights?
To get good conservative justice.
That's what he talks about.
We led fights against judges. We attacked those judges.
And I will do so.
And I led the fight against grilled cheese on the fucking commissary.
Grilled cheese. Isn't that a great food? Like, isn't that just one of the best?
That's one of the best things about having kids. You get to eat the same shit they do.
An expansion of socialism.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly.
It's not that he got a minor ruling wrong. This is twice he rewrote the law.
Kids are shitty.
I have a lot of respect for these senators that have big bladders. They give great speeches in the Senate, and I respect that. I've actually signed the executive order.
They have big bladders.
Signed a law protecting religious liberty in the state of Louisiana. It's not 1991. The one that he got wrong was a big one. Twice he bent over backwards to save Obamacare. If the Republicans had voted the way they should have, we would still have our 10th
Lindsey
Amendment
perked
right.
up.
And
What?
Obamacare would not be
Bent over.
Let me bring
Bent
that
over.
up.
War.
You make him sound like a fucking raven, dude.
In fact, former Secretary of State Clinton.
That's what he looks like, right?
Yeah.
He stands up there, he starts talking, and he's talking to the microphone, and he just gets right in there, and he's like
Senator Graham
getting really excited, and he's really pleading with you. He's really,
Secretary of State as a national
he really
treasure.
means what he's saying.
Anyone
He's
from
really,
inside of Washington
really
win this election
across.
cycle having
You can see it in his eyes.
praised Secretary of State Clinton that way?
No, and it's not only whether they can win, they shouldn't win this election cycle. One of the things I do agree, and I want to thank Donald Trump after I've criticized him for everything from being a narcissist to an egomaniac, one of the things he was right about was to say nonsense to the D.C. establishment. It is time to fire all of them. You've got a choice between honest.
That means you too, sir.
Like Bernie Sanders and lying.
Oh, he's not from D.C. He's from Louisiana.
We've got the majority. What good has it done? See, they said they were going to stop amnesty. They said they were going to repeal Obamacare. They didn't do
That's
either.
right, he's governor.
Now they're not even willing to fight to defund Planned Parenthood. McConnell's already waved the white flag of defeat. They're not willing to
because they were wrong.
Wrong.
He's already after 60 votes to repeal it. Already, he's already given up after 60 fucking votes.
Stop them from being seven-figure lobbyists. Let's also pay them a per diem for every day they don't go to D.C. Let's keep them out of D.C. Let's make them live under the same rules and laws they apply to the rest of us. Not only shouldn't they be
He just said let's pay our legislature to not be legislators.
Yeah.
No, charge them a per diem. If they're not to be in to.
Oh, is that what he said? Did I have that backward? I thought he said. I thought he said
not pay them to be in. DC,
I thought he said pay them to be outside of D.C.
He wants them to stay out of D.C. so they actually work on their own.
Time to have term limits.
Their own areas that they're part senators.
You know what he doesn't understand though about politicians is they work really hard. They all do. It's just that they spend most of their time asking other people for money.
Yep.
You know, but they really do. But they just 20 to 30% of their time.
They work hard at asking for money.
They work hard for the money.
But they do work all fucking day long, every day. They work hard.
Trying to get the money.
I don't know.
Where's that money, Dick?
That's just where.
Let's also pay them a per diem for every day they don't go to D.C. Let's keep them out of D.C. Working in the real. Let's make them live under the same rules and laws that apply to the rest of us. Not only shouldn't they be elected, they can't be elected. Let's fire all of them from their current positions.
Senator Graham took a shot at you. You're having a good debate, but there is this problem of Washington elites and saying wonderful things about each other.
I've been called a lot of things, but never elite before. My dad owned a liquor store or bar and a pool room. So only in America can you go from
He just lost the Mormon vote.
Also, I'm fucking stupid.
I went in there and I drilled 3 glory holes on my own.
War.
Nice.
her store to be an elite.
Is that responsive to calling Hillary Clinton a national treasure, Senator?
I introduced her at a conference about Africa. I thought Secretary Clinton did a good job when it came to dealing with our problems in Africa, particularly among women. George W. Bush set $40 billion aside, and Rick Santorum helped him. And President Bush wiped out AIDS and malaria for an entire generation of young African children. Secretary
No.
Clinton,
Yeah, no,
really.
And what did
here's my problem, Secretary
and what did Rick
Where the
Santorum's
hell were you
religion
on the night
do
of
about
the-
AIDS in Africa?
Oh, you know,
Tell
only
them to
right.
stop using condoms.
You're right.
Yeah, he told them that AIDS were
Fucker.
bad. Okay, but condoms are worse.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they told him.
Yeah.
And if you want to thank anybody for like wiping out malaria, it's going to be Bill and Melinda Gates here in a couple of years.
Exactly right.
Uh-huh.
Atheists, by the
Let
way.
it become a death trap
Liberals,
to
by the
begin
way.
with.
Yep.
And why did you lie about what happened to these people? And if you want a new change in terms of foreign policy, don't pick her because she's his Secretary of State.
Is his
I've
upper
got
lip plastic,
a real
Hugh
good
Hewitt?
chance
It
of
kind of
beating
looks like
her.
it, right? It doesn't move.
Right. Looks like a video game character.
It's just the bottom lip, just
And her definition of flat broken and mine are a little bit different.
But, Senator, can you go back and forth that way and expect to have an argument with the American people to persuade them about that?
Ronald Reagan did a couple of really big things that we should all remember. He sat down.
He armed the Contras. He fucked our economy.
Yeah, he started the war on drugs.
You're right.
He governed the country while he had,
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's disease.
Started the attack on unions. Started the wage death.
Came out of Hollywood.
Made bedtime for Bongo.
So many really terrible things.
The most liberal
Yeah, but thanks to him, we have punk music, though.
Yeah. Henry Rollins came out of Reagan.
Right, for sure.
Ronald Reagan
Dead
did
Milkman.
a couple of really big things that we should all remember. He sat down with Tip O'Neill, the most liberal guy in
Oh,
the
no, not
house.
Tip O'Neill.
They started drinking together. That's the first thing I'm going to do as president. We're going to drink more.
We don't drink more.
I'm going to drink a whole lot and make war.
That was the funniest thing he's ever said.
Do.
I think
They
ever.
found a way to save Social Security.
Even
from
Rick Santorum
bankruptcy
laughed at
by
that one.
adjusting the age of retirement from 65 to 67. So yes,
No.
I will say nice things at times about Democrats. Yes, I will work them.
Make it
work with
60.
Them. I will put the
I will work
ahead
them.
of Party.
Oh my God, I would work them so hard.
At the end
Puts
of
the
the
thing
day,
down,
he
flips
was
it in
I'll bend
reverse.
him right over.
here. I'm the first in my family to go to college. Neither one of my parents finished high school. Darlene's here with me tonight. We owned a
Thank you,
restaurant.
Senator.
But wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You asked me a question. This is important. Republicans need to tell the American people we get it as to who you are. When my mom died, I was 21. When my dad died when I was 22, we were wiped out financially. If it weren't for a Social Security survivor benefit check coming into Darlene, we wouldn't have made it. I don't need a lecture
21 and 22?
from Democrats about Social Security.
Thank
I
you,
want to
Senator.
save it.
I was
But just
fairly
like
well
Ronald
established
Reagan,
at
Let's talk
21
about
and
the
22
economy.
with what I was doing in this world.
I won't save it.
Yes.
Well, they
Jeb
died
Bush
in
and
the
Donald
Depression.
Trump are both proposing raising taxes on hedge fund managers who pay at a lower rate. Governor Pataki, you were the governor of New York, home of Wall Street. Do you agree that hedge fund managers need to be paying a higher rate?
Yes.
I would throw out the entire corrupt tax code. It's a symbol. It's a symbol of the corruption and the power of the lobbyists and the special interest in
And
Washington.
replace it with what,
It is
though? Flat tax?
74,000 pages
No.
of incomprehensible gobbledygook.
Hopefully not.
What
That's
I
what you
would
gotta
do
wonder,
is
though.
get rid of that 1.4 trillion every year in exemptions and loopholes, dramatically lower the rates. The normal American person is paying higher taxes than they should because of loopholes, and one of them is that carried interest loophole. I would tax that income the same as ordinary income. I'd lower the rate to 24% for all Americans, but I would not give a special break to the Wall Street fat
There you
caps.
go.
So you are with Jeb Bush and Donald Trump on the hedge
But
fund.
still,
For me
his
to say that
message
I'm
was
with Donald Trump on
when I
anything,
get
but on
more-
this issue. I agree with him. But let me just make one other point. It's not just throwing out the tax code to break the back of the special interests that control Washington. It's other reforms. I would propose a law. Right now, there are over 400 former members of the House and Senate who are registered lobbyists in Washington. I would propose a law day one. You serve one day in the House or Senate, there is a lifetime ban on your ever being a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. You get elected, you go back home, you don't stay and support the special interests.
Governor Jindal?
That'd be a toothless law.
Governor Jindal.
I mean, there's so many ways around it.
That's 3 Republicans running for president who support hedge fund managers paying a higher rate. Are you the 4th?
2 things, Jake. One, I'm absolutely for ending all these carve-outs and loopholes and special interests for those they get lobbyists. They get sweetheart deals you and I and the rest of this audience couldn't get. So as a part of overall comprehensive tax reform that has a lower, flatter tax code, sure. As a single item just to raise taxes, no, I want to give the government more money. The government has grown under this president. We're now going to overwhelm the American
tailors here in Louisiana.
Cut the size of the government economy. Nobody else running for president has done that. I'm the only candidate. I've cut my state budget 26%. Everybody else talks about it. We have done it. So as a part of overall tax reform that cuts rates, flattens and lowers the tax code, sure, but I'm not for raising taxes on anybody. We already have too much money going to D.C.
Let's stay on the topic of tax.
We have too much money going to D.C. that we can't pay for these programs that we have in place already.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I cut my budget.
Senator Santorum, you just heard.
Wonder how many people are on welfare where I live?
You talk about tax reform.
Yeah, right.
Jeb Bush has proposed a tax reform plan, and in it he limits deductions, including the popular home mortgage deduction. Would you do the same as president?
Actually, I'm going to be proposing a plan. I call it the 2020 Perfect Vision for Americans. Flat tax, a 20% flat tax on income,
flat tax.
20% flat tax on capital gains and on corporations. We eliminate all the deductions, special interest provisions.
He's like 20.
Everybody pays the same 20%.
That's what he's saying, right?
No
20. We have a progressive tax system for a reason.
Yes,
a flat tax hurts people at the bottom of the pay scale.
Correct.
For manufacturing, again, I pledged when I announced that I was going to run for president on a factory floor that I would make America the #1 manufacturer in the world. Why?
You can't.
Because we need to put Americans back to work.
He's starting to get that white shit at the corner of his mouth.
Doing well in this
he's Santoruming.
Santorum getting all foamy.
All skill levels are going to be able to work. We put a 20% rate on corporations. We're competitive with
he just licked it off.
in the world. We allow for expensing. We have a 3-year phase-in.
Doing his best Marco Rubio impression.
You're going to see an enormous investment of capital and equipment. You're going to see people.
What is his pen? Is that like a?
You're going to have problems finding
a
folks
flag
with
a bullet hole through it.
That's how many jobs are great. So the answer is.
Well, and they keep bringing up manufacturing, and I mentioned during the last debate, manufacturing is dead.
It's kind of coming back.
But manufacturing is a job
different though.
Yeah, it is. It is totally different, and it's a job that more and more is being handled through automation.
Yeah, a lot of it's robotics and robotic repair and
and
supplying robots and that kind of stuff.
And he's all about manufacturing, and it's not a viable enterprise to enter into.
No.
We're gonna lower and flatten taxes. We're gonna put government on a budget.
Not like they already have a budget.
And employment. We've got a lot of plans.
Okay, time's up, Senator. And
I got a lot of shit to say, but no time to say it.
You said that you would be okay with what is effectively raising taxes on hedge fund managers as part of a tax reform plan. Would you also be for doing away with people's deductions for their mortgage interest?
No, I would not. I would keep that deduction. I would lower the rates dramatically. So yes, that group that has a special carve-out would pay more, but everybody else is going to pay less. I would keep the home mortgage deduction, the charitable deduction, and others. And by the way, I agree with Rick on manufacturing, but my approach is different. I would pass a rate on manufacturing of 12%, the lowest in the developed world, so we can make things in America again. I know how important those jobs are. When I went through college, Christmas and summer vacations, I worked in a factory. My grandparents worked in a factory.
Of course.
It's not the tax rate.
With lower energy
tax
costs,
rate doesn't matter.
with the world labor costs getting higher, to make things in America so we don't have to worry about China. Lower the tax burden on manufacturing.
See, my problem with them bringing up manufacturing all the time is that it, for the most part, if you're working on a manufacturing line, it's a menial, mindless fucking job. They're not about giving people more education to go out and innovate and create new and better things. It's what can we get people doing where they're just collecting a pay job and collecting a paycheck and doing the same fucking job over and over and over and over and over again, day in, day out, producing nothing more of value than what people want to consume. We're not innovating. We're not creating new things. We're just reproducing more of the same shit over and over and over.
When I talked about this on Utah Outcasts, this last episode we did, where I had a job where I did the kind of like manufacturing work they're talking about at Lifetime in Clearfield. I don't know if anybody knows about it.
Yeah.
But really,
I think these tables are Lifetime tables. Actually.
They are indeed. Yeah. I was a giant cog in a fucking machine because the robot that could do the work that I was doing would cost them more than it cost to have a person in that place. I was making like $7.50 an hour, but you know what? It was 40 hours a week. You know, it was a decent job.
Yeah. I mean, this is a dream of the past. You know, this is a dream when, like in the 50s and 60s, when
we don't need Rosie the Riveter anymore. We don't need
when the riveting, supplying ammo and guns. You know, working at Smith and Wesson for the war. You know, working at GM or Ford. You know, when automobiles were hip and new, all that stuff. Yeah, it was fine then. But now, just like you're saying, we need higher education, we need innovation, we need creativity, we need to move forward in technology.
We need a whole lot more people in STEM jobs.
We need people who are better educated to actually solve problems instead of producing products.
Right, exactly right. Yeah.
You know, we don't need people to sit around and make fucking trinkets. We need people who are smart enough to solve fucking problems. Right. And they're not at all interested in that.
No, they want the worker class that they can continue to tax and keep them stupid, keep them poor, and continue to
keep
make
them
money
Christian.
Yeah.
Improve the work skills of Americans.
I'm going to fit it in there every time if I can.
We're going to make things in America.
I want to turn. We're going to make things in America. We're going to do it. We're going to make things in America. We make the Corvette in America. That's nice.
We have a 0% rate that phases to 20. We'd have a 7% repatriation, so money about $2 trillion overseas would come back and be invested in plant and equipment here. We will create more jobs under this plan than any plan.
Senator Graham, I want to turn to the minimum.
If you want to see manufacturing come to South Carolina.
Let's talk about South Carolina.
I'll show you an assembly line in my bedroom.
Show you a bunch of mindless workers there.
Senator Santorum is the only person on the stage who has proposed increasing the federal minimum
wage. Looks like he's like, fuck it, I'm done.
How would that affect South Carolinians? Do you agree with Senator Santorum that the federal minimum wage should be increased?
He's got his hand in his pocket like he's done, though.
My mom and dad owned the restaurant, the bar.
Before they died.
Lindsay's up there.
But if you increase the minimum wage, it'd been hard to hire more people. Hillary Clinton has a list a mile long to help the middle class. We're talking
makes it hard for me to hire more people.
Middle class for the last
it doesn't, right? No.
I mean, it'd give people more money to spend where they're fucking working. That's terrible.
Right. Or, like keeping people at the fucking job for longer than 3 weeks.
You're from one child away from having to change your whole budget. Here's what I want to do.
We could get the employees of Walmart off the fucking welfare rolls.
That's the most important thing. I think welfare wages should be illegal.
Everybody paid more. They would have lost
pretty simple.
It
ought to be illegal.
If you're a waitress out there wanting more money,
and we should be able to recoup our money before they have profits. Before we pay them.
Yeah, you should fucking pay your employees enough that they're not on fucking welfare.
Right.
Restaurant across the street to hire you away at a higher rate, or they'll have to pay you more to keep you. More to create jobs in this country.
He is talking about restaurant warfare.
Yeah, it's always a war with him.
The tax code is a complete mess, but nobody's talked about the elephant in the room, which is
GOP.
You're all elephants.
Not one more penny to the federal government until we come up with a plan to get out of debt.
Senator, thank you so much, Senator Santorum.
Clinton pretty much was on the.
Obama's on the track.
How much are these wars that he wants to get into going to cost us?
They don't want to give Obama credit for fucking derailing the entire recession.
He's on. Obama's on track to get rid of the deficit.
1%. Yeah, but so what you're basically saying, whatever Republicans up here saying is we're against the minimum wage. Because if you're not for increasing it, and nobody's making the minimum wage right now, the answer is that Republicans don't believe in a floor wage in America. Fine, you go ahead and make that case to the American public. I'm not going to. Not from a party that supported bailouts. I didn't, but this party did. Not from a party that supports special interest tax provisions for a whole bunch of other businesses. But when it comes to hard,
he must not have the right donors then, because all this shit should mean something to him.
Some level of income support. What I proposed is not anything what the president's proposed. I believe that would be harmful to the American public. But a 50 cents an hour increase over 3 years, which is what I proposed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
50 cents over 3 years.
That's a whole,
gee, thanks, fucker.
That's a whole $20 a paycheck.
Wow.
By the way, 90% of American
you could buy twice the top ramen for that.
They don't own a business. They work for it.
Fuck.
Most of them are wage earners. And Republicans are losing elections because we're not talking about them. All we want to talk about is what happened to our business.
50 fucking cents over 3 years.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
I was at the convention 4 years ago. And on the signs, on all of the seats the night I spoke was a sign that said, "We built that." Because Barack Obama
Look how much he's sweating.
He's flop sweating like hard.
Then we trotted out one small business person after another for almost an hour that night.
Oh, Joe the plumber.
How they built their businesses.
We built that.
Wonderful. But you know what we didn't do? We didn't bring one worker on that stage.
Nope.
How are you going to win, ladies and gentlemen? How are we going to win if 90% of Americans don't think we care at all about them and their chance to rise?
Thank you, Senator. We have to take a quick break. When we come back, confrontation or negotiation, how will these candidates attempt to handle Russian President Vladimir Putin? That's next.
You can't fucking handle Putin.
Lindsey Graham is like, I'd grab him from behind.
No, Putin would be the power top on that one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I hope somebody out there in podcast land got a chuckle out of that.
Okay, Lindsay's
bite me.
I want to be the little spoon.
Oh, Lindsay.
Pull my hair.
Lindsay would fight him a little bit, I think,
at the CNN Republican debate at the Reagan Library in beautiful Simi.
Roar.
Let's turn now to some issues of foreign
policy. Let's battle with our pork swords.
Graham, you all oppose the U.S. nuclear deal
Just give me
with
a cracker,
Iran.
it'd be fine.
Former UN
Great deal. Leave it alone.
Bolton, a Republican, is pushing for a U.S. military strike against Iran, against its nuclear facilities. Senator Graham, would you authorize as president
over there,
a
right?
nuclear strike against, a strike
good.
against Iran's nuclear facilities?
If I believe they were trying to break out and get a bomb, absolutely. And here's the most important thing.
What's the most important thing?
They know I would if I had to.
Oh, no, they don't care.
They don't give a shit about you, Lindsay.
War!
These guys seem to forget that they sent a letter to Iran, and they're like, yeah, this is against your guys' own constitution. You know?
Right.
Does that sound familiar to you?
You didn't need to translate this into Farsi. We understand your English better than you do.
The first thing I want to do as Commander-in-Chief on day one
they would just send a letter back. Your name is Lindsay.
What do you need that you don't have?
I don't know why they're Russian now.
We're cutting our military. We're on track to have the smallest army since 1940, the smallest navy since 1915, and John Kasich says he wants to close more bases. I want to rebuild our military, and I want the Iranians to know that if I had to, I would use it.
But we don't need the bases to do it.
The worst nightmare in the world is a radical Islamic regime with a weapon of mass destruction. The only reason 3,000 of us died.
It's so much worse than a radical Christian regime.
Yeah, exactly.
Not 3 million because they couldn't get the weapons to kill us. They're on track to get a bomb even if they don't cheat.
And right next to him.
This deal is a nightmare for Israel. They're coming here if we don't watch it. Terrorism with a nuclear capability sponsored by Iran. So, yes, I would use military force to stop them. I would set this deal aside, and I would get you a better deal. If you gave me $100 billion, I could get almost anybody out of jail. We couldn't even get our hostages out of jail.
Governor,
war.
Well, you're in the Reagan Library. Why don't you say more about Reagan getting the Iranian hostages out of there? Come on.
There are other ways, Governor, than bombing Iran. I want to quote Rick Santorum. We should send a very clear message that if you are a scientist and you're going to work on a nuclear program to develop a bomb for Iran, you are not safe.
Yeah, Mossad already let us know about that.
That works
fucking car bombing people.
Not on the table, but I think there's a lot that does work, and that is to have a strong America, a strong military, and a resolve where the Iranians know that not only are we going to reject this deal on day one
Rick
and
Santorum here, because it doesn't seem like they're giving him very hard-hitting questions. They seem to be quoting him in hard-hitting questions for everybody else.
I'll tell you a couple of things I do. I give the Israelis bombs called MOPs, massive ordnance penetrators. Give them to Israel.
Oh, Lord.
Israel doesn't fucking need it.
We sell them enough shit as it is.
Move their asses back to the Caucasus of Russia and get them the fuck out of Palestine.
Supporting this deal.
Israel's weapons are all U.S. weapons already.
Of course they are.
She saw what happened at the hands of radical Islam.
And Netanyahu is the biggest welfare recipient we have, and the Republicans are all for it.
Who allowed the Middle East to
give him more, give him more.
You want to really see what countries on America's dick? Find out which ones have F-16s.
Yeah, that's the opponent. We are going to have
Israel's number one.
Oh, yeah.
We have got to win this election. Everything we say is wonderful, but we have to win, and once we win...
We built a fortress in Israel, right?
Everything we say is wonderful.
Staying on that.
God. Sounds like Trump.
Any means
It's going to be really
necessary? Is that what
terrific.
you meant to say? Is that what's still on the table?
I foresee
after
that
this?
being
What
auto-tuned
David
into a
Buchanan
song.
feel?
As you know, 12 years ago, I authored the Iran Freedom Support Act, which put sanctions on the Iranian nuclear program. As we came within 4 votes of passing a very strong version of that. The 4 people who opposed me on the floor: Joe Biden, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama.
You mean like the people that are actually like Department of State,
for
right?
For 12 years,
The
I have
reasonable
been laser beam
people.
focused on the issue of Iran with a nuclear weapon. Why? Because I understand who they are. Yes, they're radical Islamists. That's true. But they're a particular version of it, which is an apocalyptic version.
No.
Oh, how much different is that from Christianity? Jesus was an apocalyptic prophet.
If you poll Iranians,
look at Monson and the people of Utah.
Shiites in the region.
Latter-day Saints.
2/3 of them believe that the end of the world is going to come within their lifetime. Why?
Every generation
preaches it.
Here
they
it comes.
Bringing about the end of times. That's
it's over.
Goal.
It's over.
The process of giving them a nuclear weapon.
If you don't understand giving them that means it's over because that's the end of the world. That's what it says.
Facilities for inspection. You make it available.
My fucking irony boner is red.
We can go everywhere, or else.
I've had this erection for more than 4 hours now.
People say you're going to start a war. My response is no. I'm going to stop a war because a nuclear
war
is the end.
Thank you,
Do
Senator.
they really
Senator
think
Graham?
that Iran would be stupid enough to detonate a nuclear weapon
I'd like
against somebody? Do they not realize how fast the entire world would come across and fucking destroy them for that shit?
Even Russia.
More tanks.
It's called non-proliferation because for a fucking reason.
Syria to help support President Assad, an enemy of the
Have
United
it,
States.
never use it.
The Russian military is also
Stupid,
buzzing
but it
American
works.
planes and naval vessels around the world. Your frontrunner, Donald Trump,
mutually
says
assured destruction.
It's scary. That's the way.
I mean, even fucking North Korea has nukes, and what do we just do? Wag our fingers at them?
Work better than Mr. Trump's negotiation.
Do you think Putin would be in the Ukraine or Syria today if Ronald Reagan were president?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have a weak, unqualified,
but he was so hot,
commander-in-chief who doesn't understand the role
Putin
America
was KGB,
plays in
wasn't
the
he?
world.
Wait.
Come on now. What is it? What is it?
What?
You gotta go higher. He just fucking invoked Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And then turned around and said Obama doesn't understand the situation we're in.
Right.
The guy who just got a fucking diplomatic deal with Iran.
Right.
Doesn't understand.
Oh, no, of course not.
Well, it's a terrible deal.
He's black.
Yeah, he's black. Yeah.
And it's a terrible deal.
Well,
and he's Muslim.
My mother was white. You know, so I'm only half bad.
Right.
the white half.
Yeah.
He's the magnet for Sunni.
I'm going to back this up just a second here.
This is what happens when you have a weak, unqualified commander-in-chief.
Unqualified?
Doesn't understand
qualified.
the role
He was
America
he was
plays.
magna cum laude from Harvard.
He's good enough.
I want to see them both in the ring. We'll see who's weak.
Right.
Bad for you that Russia is helping Assad. He's
More.
the magnet for Sunni
More.
extremists. The Syrian people
See?
are not
You
going
hear
to
him,
accept
right?
him as their legitimate
My
leader.
fucking
By
dad
Assad
has that
being
tie.
helped by Russia, it means the war never ends. It means the next 9/11, which is most
He's got
likely
nice
to
hair,
occur
though.
from attack from Syria, is more likely. At the end of the day, if I'm president of the United States, I've told you
won't
what
be,
I'm going to do.
Lindsey.
There's nobody left in Syria
Give
to
it
train.
up.
We're going to get a regional army who doesn't like ISIL, who won't accept Assad because he's
I'm going to walk you through exactly how we're going to win this war.
And we're going to destroy
I'm going to walk you through exactly how we're going to win this war. Nobody asked you for it, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to win this war. No one's asked me a goddamn thing about a war, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to win this war.
And if the war in Syria continues,
war.
For God's sakes, let's get on with fixing the problem in Syria.
Governor, God's sakes, let's get on with fixing that problem in Syria.
Well, Jake, I want to answer that question. I want to go back to Iran. I didn't get a chance to answer that as well. Look, on Russia, across the world, dictators walk all over this president. He treats our friends like dirt. He lets our enemies walk all over us. The only group he's able to out-negotiate are the Senate Republicans.
This is so ridiculous.
This bad Corker bill. Instead of a 2/3 vote to approve that.
This is from the party who, last week when I was watching fucking Fox News, both Cheneys, Dick and Liz, were on Fox News, and Cheney tried to say that when he and the Bush administration were in office, they kept Iran in check. Yeah. And fucking Chris Wallace, to his credit, said, well, actually you didn't, because during the Bush administration, Iran went from 0 centrifuges to more than 5,000 during the time that you were in this administration that you're saying kept them in check. How the fuck is that keeping them in check?
Yeah, and Cheney tried to put that off too, but then
well, he tried to say that that didn't happen during ours, and he's like, no, if you look at the years, this is when this fucking happened.
But the other thing that's wrong with what he's saying is that there's been multiple foreign leaders that have come forth and said, it's really shocking to us to see you guys elect a president who actually reinstills confidence
around the world
in foreign diplomacy in the United States. Yeah. And a guy who shows confidence, compassion, competence, all these kind of things. And to see you treat him like such shit is really astounding. And they're going to say, well, he's totally incapable. He's totally incompetent. He's ruined our friendship. No, what friendships do the Republicans have outside of the U.S.?
None. Israel.
None. Yeah. Israel. Okay, fair enough.
Well, yeah, Benny. You bet.
Yeah, fair enough.
It takes a 2/3 vote to reject.
I think you mean BB.
BB. Will the Senate Republicans, they still have time, are they willing to use
good friend
the nuclear
BB
option, meaning get rid of the filibuster to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power? Now's the time for the Senate Republicans to stand up and fight.
I don't care if Iran is a nuclear power, really.
We are tired of the establishment saying there's nothing we can do.
Doesn't matter.
All night tonight we've heard Republicans say things like, well, the Supreme Court's ruled.
They're already a nuclear power.
The president did this. There's nothing we can do about it for 2 more years. There is something we can do. We won the Senate. We won the House. What was the point of winning those chambers if we're not going to do anything with them? You're going back tonight. You still have time before the Thursday deadline. Will y'all use the nuclear option to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power?
Stop talking.
Bobby,
put your foot where your mouth is.
And all I can tell you to everybody here, if you want to repeal Obamacare, get a new president. If you want to defund Planned
did not get the reaction he wanted.
A pro-life president.
I think every president post-Obama is going to be like, oh, well, it's already here. Fuck it. You know.
The Cardin bill, Graham Menendez, it would go to the president. He would veto it. 67 votes are required to override the veto.
Well, and Lindsey,
wait a minute. Now, you asked me a question. So I don't want to take off the table the ability to slow down.
He's the Jindal whisperer. He's like,
13, 14 months.
You see, I'm not paying attention to him at all.
To stop what I think he's going to do between now and January 2017.
We're on
5 Republicans leave, we're in trouble. So, folks, the world really is the way it is. President Obama is president. The goal is to get him out of there and pick somebody who would actually do something to repeal.
Do they think he's running for a third term?
I've heard people say that.
We have to get him out of there. Well, you know, he's leaving in just over a year.
He's lame duck.
Against Obama for the rest of his presidency. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you things I can't do. I'm not going to tell you by shutting the government down, we're going to defund Obamacare as long as he's president. All that does is hurt us.
And me.
I'm trying to lead this party to winning.
Lindsey, well, that's my frustration. Listen to what you heard. You basically heard.
Them assholes owe me 11 days of pay.
We can't defund Planned Parenthood despite these barbaric videos.
Are you going to shut the government down?
We can't get rid of Obamacare. Lindsey, let me answer this question now. I wish the Senate Republicans had half the fight in them the Senate Democrats did. Look, President Obama didn't give up on Obama.
But the Democrats
Can't
are weak.
win, Bobby.
Right, but they're weak.
I
Yeah.
want my side to follow the Constitution. They broke the Constitution. They broke the law. But they forced Obamacare down our throats even when they didn't have 60
They
votes.
didn't break the Constitution. They didn't break the law.
Half the fight of the Senate Democrats to get rid of Obamacare, to defund Planned Parenthood. If we can't defund Planned Parenthood now,
Well, we do have to
if
vote
can't
for it
stand
before we know what's in
innocent
it.
Human life after these barbaric videos, it is time to be done with the Republican Party. We defunded them in Louisiana. Let's defund them in D.C. If we can't win on that issue, there is no point for being cheaper Democrats, no point for having a second liberal party. It is time to get rid of the Republican Party, start over with a new one that's at least conservative. Give Harry Reid and Pelosi credit. At least they fight for what they believe in. I want senators and House members in D.C. to fight for what we believe in as well. It's time to have
I think he just took a giant shit on John Boehner.
Yeah, he did. And Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
It's time for the return of the wigs.
President of the United States. The most important job in the free world. With it comes a certain amount of honesty. I'm tired of telling people things they want to hear that I know
bombing, dude.
He is not going to sign a bill that would defund Obamacare.
He keeps doing the
If I'm
$5
president of the
footlong
United
thing,
States,
too.
I would put 1 penny in my budget for Planned Parenthood. Not 1 penny. I'm as offended by these videos as you are. But the one
Which are
thing
false.
I'm not going to do going into 2016 is shut the government down.
He's like, fuck, what year is it?
Ability to win. What you're saying is what Senator Cruz saying, I am really sick of hearing. Trying to get the Republican Party
so much emotion.
I'm trying to do.
Just got to tell you.
Thank you, Senator. The final
we got to do something. We got to do something.
As the top contenders.
It sounded like he was going to cry there for a second.
He always does that.
Yeah,
he always does that.
There's so many stone-faced fucking people.
I know. Hold on. Go back for a second.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, dude. I'm trying to figure out if that's a man or a woman.
Presidential debate.
Not that it really matters, but
where?
Hold on. It's no, back
It's
more.
a little bit more. Sorry.
That was Senator
You know
John
what I'm talking
McCain.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Right there.
To take their places on the debate stage when we come back right after this.
Look at that face.
You sound like Trump.
I don't care.
Look at that face.
I don't know if I talked to you guys about the go or no go code. When it's not a code from 0 to 10 for me. It's go or no go. It's 1 or 0.
Interesting.
And it takes honestly like a really off-putting thing for it to be a no-go. Like if you got a goiter, that's like no-go for me.
Well, I'm basically an asexual, so
there you go.
I'm more of a no or go, but it's way higher.
But then again, I'm married anyway, so it's always no-go.
So am I.
Library in beautiful Simi Valley, California. We have time for one more question for the candidates.
One more question.
Governor Pataki, let's start with you.
Can it be God?
You have all spent the last hour and a half debating each other. The other 11
Pedro
on their way to
Holy
the
shit,
stage.
Pedro from
What is the one
Napoleon
thing
Dynamite's in
as
the
a
audience.
candidate that you offer that no one
there he is.
at the next debate?
Yeah.
I think there are two things, Jake. Two things that we need as Republicans. First, we have to win the election. You're going to hear a lot of great ideas. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. None of it matters unless you win the election. And the second is once you win, you have to be able to govern successfully. You've heard a lot of fighting back and forth. You didn't get this done. You didn't get that done. That's the way Washington is today. You have to have a leader, a president, who will actually get a conservative agenda through. I'm running because I have done both those things, and I did them in one of the most liberal states in America. I got elected 3 times in the state of New York. Twice by the largest pluralities ever for a Republican. I ran as a Republican conservative. If I get the nomination, I will be able to get broad support and win this election and take the White House back for our party.
I don't know if I consider him a conservative.
Once I've won,
well, he's conservative, but he's not fucking wacko.
Agenda. I did that in New York.
No, he's
over
more
$143 billion.
He's more of a centrist,
reasonable Republican,
combined, taking 1 million more people off welfare and putting them into jobs in a state where the Democrats control the state assembly 103 to 47. I got them to support a conservative
I think
agenda.
it's Forrest.
If I get elected president, I will make
fucking iPhones
from Washington for the Republican Party and for the United States.
Is it an iPhone?
Yeah.
They're the worst.
And everyone in that spot too.
Yeah.
I came to Washington
There's a reason I took
in the
this
most
seat.
Unlikely
was
way. 14-year incumbent, a 60% Democratic district. I went to Washington thinking I was only going to be there for one term. And so I just shook things up.
We sent the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee to jail. We ended 40 years of Democratic control of the Congress. And I led that fight with reforms, substantive reforms, welfare reform. I wrote the bill when I was in the House. I led the charge in the United States Senate. Partial birth abortion. In fact, 3 pro-life bills. Bipartisan pro-life bills.
Partial birth.
I mentioned the Iran bill. We also passed one on Syria. Health savings accounts, many of you know.
You get it out as far as you can, and we got the hatchet ready.
We'll chop that fucker's head off.
Private sector healthcare.
Then we're going to sell it.
An outsider who came to
war,
tough state of Pennsylvania, and we got conservative things done. I made things happen in a town where things don't happen very much. Now, after 10 years of seeing the mess, the retreat that we see in the Republican Party in Washington, D.C. It's time to get someone who's an outsider.
Thank you, Senator.
Who can go to Washington,
an outsider who's been in the inside for at least 10 years.
You have a lot of folks who will tell you a lot of things. Look at their record.
He needs to fucking just cut him off. He said, thank you, Senator. You're done.
Got things done, and that's why you can trust me to do it again.
Thank
you, Senator Santorum. Governor Jindal, what is something that you offer as a candidate that the other 11 candidates coming on stage in a few minutes cannot offer?
Jake, I'm a doer, not a talker. Look, the
idea
is slipping away from us.
Yakety.
Slow decline of this country, make incremental changes, vote for somebody else.
Vote for someone else. If you want something big, vote for me.
Planned Parenthood is selling.
Do not look at my portrait in the
not selling baby parts. Not selling baby parts.
War.
Republicans in D.C. than I am at the president. The president's a socialist. At least he fights what he believes in.
No, he's not.
Wow.
We need to send somebody who understands it's time to make big changes. It's time to take on the establishment. It's time to take on the D.C. permanent governing class. Every Republican says they'll shrink the size of the government. I'm the only one that has done it. Cut our budget 26%. If you want somebody that's going to make incremental change, vote for somebody else.
You lost federal funding for 26%.
It's time to get the idea of America back. At some point, we'll be held accountable. We'll be asked, what did you do?
Yo, I'm not going to lie, though. Louisiana's fucking cool.
Away. I'll promise you this.
Cool
but it's not his fault.
Every ounce of blood, energy,
not economically,
not
food, not educationally.
Their food's amazing.
Oh, yeah, but they're a bunch of fucking morons.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Graham?
Well, number one, I will win a war that
war.
I have a plan to destroy radical Islam because it has to be.
It has to be.
These are religious Nazis running wild.
Religious Nazis.
Wow. Holy shit!
Nazis!
He went Godwin.
I get my foreign policy from being on the ground. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan, the Mideast 35 times.
And never once with a gun in your hand.
How many times has he said that? I think it's like 35 times.
Yeah, I love the brothels there. They don't question none too much when I have money.
Ooh, I'm big. I'm
hairy Persian men with car fresheners around their neck.
That's not foreign policy. That's a cartoon character.
That's what you've been fucking saying the whole goddamn time. Did you hear that?
Oh, shit.
We're going to close more bases on his watch. On my watch, we're going to open up more bases.
Listen to this shit.
Trying to understand how we got in this mess. Our leading candidate gets his foreign policy from watching television. And what I heard last night is the Cartoon Network. Ooh, I'm big, I'm strong. We're going to hit him in the head.
That's what you've been fucking saying the whole goddamn time.
That's not foreign policy.
Don't diss Cartoon Network, man.
That's a cartoon character. John Kasich, a good friend of mine, said in New Hampshire, we're going to close more bases on his watch. On my watch, we're going to open up more bases. The military
for what?
Is in decline, folks. We're going to have the smallest
war.
We still outspend in military spending more than like the next 26 nations.
Right. Combined.
Right. Make your family safe and our country strong again.
And they're all our buddies.
And the determination to win a war that we cannot afford to lose.
Thank you, Senator Graham. Our thanks to the candidates.
China, our next biggest competitor, has one carrier, and it's 70 years old or some shit like that. It's a ridiculously old thing.
Right.
And then, of course,
nobody
the main
can
event,
compete.
the top 11 candidates going head-to-head. I will be back as moderator. Right now, let's go to my colleague.
A couple in the back's going to fuck after this. Look at that.
And the obligatory handshakes.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
Let's head to the spin room and see who did better. So, who do you guys think did very well this evening?
Just ahead. Nobody.
Pataki, hands down.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
that. I agree with.
I like the most.
Who do you think will go up more in the polls? Not who did you like the most?
Oh, well, I think Graham will see an increase.
Graham's going to get a surge in this one.
I think Pataki.
Whoa! You think he'll get on the main stage?
I think Pataki's going to sink.
I think he's going to drop. I think he'll drop.
He will.
He'll be done.
He's this year's Huntsman, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Oh God! Between Jindal and I think Santorum will see a small increase.
Yeah, more than Jindal will.
I think Jindal will probably plateau a little bit.
I think.
He's done.
He didn't say anything
toast.
new.
I think Santorum may get a little
cares
bump.
About Jindal.
Yeah, a little bump for Santorum.
Jindal will stay the same or go down. Graham will get. I think of the candidates we just watched, I think Graham will get the biggest bump out of this debate.
He has the most ground to gain as well. I mean, that helps, but
yeah, it helps being at the very bottom.
Yeah,
not really anywhere to go but up. So.
Jesus, that guy, like he's what? He should be so powerful, and he's like losing everything.
He's a hawk, man. And that's it. It's just fucking. All he wants to do, his solution for everything is we're not killing enough people.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We got to kill more people.
Yep.
And that'll fix everything.
I'm still sad Rick Perry wasn't in this one.
Jindal's solution is
indictments and all. You shouldn't get too far.
Yeah, but those sexy glasses.
I can't even believe they let him in. Like.
Nobody gave us any new Republican names tonight. We didn't get any Donald Trucks or Ronald Raven.
They were in the Ronald Raven library.
Right.
Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Godless Interruption.
It's been fun.
Yes. I've had a great time.
Hell of a time.
This has been episode 68.
68.
Next up, we will have episode 69, which will be the main event.
Oh,
I'm excited. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you want to catch the main event, be sure to listen to the next episode, which will be episode 69. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Go.
Yeehaw!
You know, somebody just found that in the church basement. Right, like they had just recorded it.
Probably, yeah.
What the fuck is this?
It was wonderful television.